Welcome to another episode of Jets Life Podcast. We are co-hosted by Dom, joining us again after a 1-week hiatus. We may have a guest joining, but we'll see what happens there, if he's able to make it or not. Busy show. We'll recap the Ravens game, get your thoughts on what was kind of a tale of two halves for the defense for sure. We'll look ahead towards the Falcons game, a game that at this point in time seems like it might be a winnable game for this team. We'll go over through some of the stats of the game over the weekend, and then we'll kick it off with part two of. I was trying to find a good name for this thing. I think I went with Fuel the Jet for our little off-season prediction. I'm trying to find a little neat name for it, whatever. But part two of that segment, if we could figure out a better name for it, go for it. But right now, it's hard.
Fuel the jet.
Yeah. The plane needs fuel to take off. So that's what we'll go with for now until we find something better. So let's start off with exactly what we're talking about. So 23-10, lost to the Ravens. Jets are now 2-9. Everyone who wants to talk about the tankathon, we're sitting at 4 right now. Giants have a game in hand. So tell us first off what you think about this game. Game I thought was going to be a pure blowout. They played better than expected, but let me know your thoughts.
Same here. The 14.5 point spread, I think that FanDuel had out there. I thought that might have been just a little too much. I know they lost by what was the final score? By 13?
13.
Yeah, so, it was close. But I'll tell you, they came out strong in the beginning. Defensively played really good in the first half. And, that was the key to that game as far as keeping it close, because they could have just came out and showed nothing and just got blown out, because that could have been a blowout easily if they didn't play as good as they did in the first half. But I've seen a lot of good things out of the defense in the first half. But then you said it's a tale of two halves. We got up 7-0. That was really nice to see. We had a chance to go up even with another field goal, but that sack that Tyrod took at the end of the second quarter kind of threw us back. It would have been nice to get up there, 10, what was it? Would have been 10-3 at the time going into halftime. Yeah. It is what it is. Again, did it surprise me, the final result? I'm happy they stood in there strong as much as they did. The game could have been a lot closer too. Brees fumbling at the 2-yard line. You take that away. It's single digits. We're down by 6.
Yeah. I tell you what, Humphreys made a career out of getting that ball out at the 1-yard line and just that punch out. He's made a career out of that and got Brees on this one. And I guess let's talk about Brees a little bit. And we can talk about defense first off. Strong first half. I think obviously Lamar wasn't himself. He hasn't really been himself for the last few weeks. Tough season for him. This is a guy that's always MVP favorite, always in the running for that award. It's just been a tough season for him. And I know the injuries killing him right now. It's the hamstring, the ankle. It's a little bit of everything right now. There was a situation early in the game where I want to say it was in the second quarter where he was rolling right, and I was even yelling at the defender because the defender kind of backed off into coverage instead of kind of staying in their zone, just in case Lamar decided to run. And normal Lamar, he would see that and he would run it for a good 10 to 15 yards. He still hesitated and then still ended up gaining 8 yards out of it. That's not the Lamar we know. You can tell something's going on. It's just not him. But the defense kind of played a good game in the first half. Three points allowed. Then I don't know what happened second half. And Glenn even pointed out in his sideline interview before the half. I think it was before the half. I think they did him before and then Harbaugh at the beginning of the half. He even said it. We got to watch out for this team. They're a team that's known for scoring in the beginning of halves. We need to slow it down. And they came out, and I think they scored in the first 3 possessions.
They did.
The second half. Just not good.
Touchdown and field goal, I think it was, right?
Yeah, 2 touchdowns, field goal. Just not really acceptable.
Right.
The JetsWard team, their head coach is defensive minded. Steve Wilkes, defensive coordinator, former head coach. He just hasn't been any good. It's been far too inconsistent for this defense. I guess I meant to talk about it last week, but me and Dane got kind of like run through a rabbit hole a little bit. But I guess we can talk about this week because it's probably a better week for it. What is the deal? And I guess if you look at, I guess we can talk about it too a little bit later, but your thoughts on the whole Steve Wilkes thing. I mean, there was a period of time where it looked like maybe he was turning his defense around, and now it's been a little bit of the same what we saw in the beginning of the year.
Well, we watched the last few weeks. I think generally, I think they're getting better as far as the unit is concerned. Like, for instance, you're getting better play out of Quincy. We did lose, we lost Sauce Gardner. We lost Quinnen, so there's adjustments made. A lot of new faces on that defense, believe it or not. If you look at last year's team, right, compared to this team, we probably got like 8 new faces on that defense. Right? So I still think, it looks bad, but I still think it's a coaching thing. Like, I still think that, I'm hearing that they're still not up to par with the calls and all that. There's still confusion and out there. But we're starting 3 rookies on defense. We brought in like 3 players. You have Briggs. You brought in, what was his name over there?
Briggs is killing it though.
He is. What I'm saying is that you're starting to see slowly the blueprint of Aaron Glenn's. I don't know. Like I said, it's not dominating yet, but once you get these players back in the role and they're used to familiarity, I think they could be a better unit. Everybody's asking for Wilkes' head, like he's going to take the blame this year for them going. He should probably. It is what it is.
He definitely should.
But if you're going to replace him, what is Aaron Glenn going to take over the defense? Is that what we're saying?
Honestly, let's kind of kick it off here. We got our guest waiting in the wings, coming over from the JetsWard channel.
What's up? Sorry, I'm a little late.
Hey,
no, you're good. You're good. We're just we're talking about chopping Steve Wilkes' head off or leaving it on for an extra year. So let's get your opinion on this. I was going to talk to Dane about it last week, what his thoughts were on Steve Wilkes, but what's your level of confidence that he'll be let go by the end of the year? And do you think there's a good alternative at this point, or is there someone you're targeting for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I am not on the bandwagon of firing Steve Wilkes. The reason for that is he's in a new system, or he's come into this team too, not his players kept from the old regime. I think if we started getting his type of players into this defense, then the turnovers will come as well. And even so, the defense hasn't been a complete disaster this year. Earlier in the season, it was a rough story, but they've actually played much better under him recently. And I think he's been scheming up some pretty good defenses. The problem is we have players like Tony Adams back there who doesn't know how to make a tackle or doesn't know how to cover anybody, or Michael Clemens who can't set an edge. There's all these players out here. Once we start bringing in his type of guys, just like AG's type of guys, I honestly think the defense will be much better under him. We had the same feelings about Jeff Ulbrich as well in his first year.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Like that defense of whatever year it was, 2019, 2018 under Saleh, that looked awful. And I think we were saying a lot of the same stuff about what's going on here. Saleh's a defensive coach. Defense looks terrible. So, yeah, that is fair. And I do wonder, like, do you guys have either of you, and I think we can all chime in on this point. Sure. Do either of you have any concerns with the fact that kind of Glenn has completely let Steve Wilkes kind of run the show on defense and doesn't seem to have his handprint and doesn't seem to be intervening as much as you would think a head coach should in those situations?
You go first. Go ahead, man.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. That's all good.
I don't think so, because he's done it for many years. I think AG, when he came in, he wants to be like that CEO type of guy who has his hands on everything. I think giving Steve Wilkes, who's been a head coach before, has been a defensive coordinator for a long, long time, I think that was the right move, letting him call the shots on defense and having AG focus on other needs, because I think that you need a CEO, head coach, and guys who are special, who have a specialty as the coordinators. And I think I was happy when Steve Wilkes got total control of the defense.
All right. Well, you're done.
I totally agree on what you said there. Like you said, Aaron Glenn wants to be the COO, right? So he is. Wilkes, listen, he's had success. Like we don't have our players, man. There's a reason why they traded Sauce. There's a reason why they traded Quinnen. They're bulking up. We have 8 picks coming in the next 2 years draft. You're going to see a totally different system next year, and it's a rebuild. As much as a lot of people were saying earlier, it's not a rebuild, man. It was always going to be a rebuild. So I agree. I'm on board with what you said earlier about Wilkes. I want to keep him. He's a smart man. Once he gets his players, I think this defense could definitely turn it around.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me personally, though, I think with how bad, and it hasn't been as bad as it was to begin the year, and maybe that is partially Glenn. Glenn has put his thoughts on a lot of these players. Quincy Williams, Sherwood, a number of players have been benched throughout the year for different reasons for short periods of times. And you've seen something better out of them and after they've come back. Hell, even Justin Fields, let's be honest, he got benched and then played a decent game against a terrible Cincinnati Bengals defense. Unfortunately, it was short-lived. But there was something there, and he seems to be using that benching card as a little bit of a wild card for some of these players, and it's worked to this point to some extent. But yeah, it would make things so much easier from an evaluation standpoint of Glenn as a head coach if this defense was trending more in the positive direction than it is. But I guess you gotta just kind of take one thing at a time. But we started off the show. Ryan, I know you just jumped in. We started off the show talking kind of on the defense and their performance against the Ravens, kind of that Jekyll and Hyde, hence the little comment down there. Strong first half, followed by an abysmal start to the second half, 3 straight scoring drives. Any feedback on that before we jump into the offensive performances?
Yeah, the first half they were keeping Lamar Jackson confused. They were keeping him off platform and everything. He was missing a lot of throws. They just let him get into a rhythm. He found the connection with Flowers, started trying to push the ball downfield. There's only so much this defense can do. We have a rookie cornerback in AZ Thomas trying to cover. Brandon Stevens, for all the stuff we were talking about him, all the positives, he is still, in my opinion, a number 2 cornerback in this league who does struggle against better competition. And Zay Flowers is a tough guy. It didn't help, too, that the offense, AG's decision to go for it on 4th and 2 on our own side of the field put our defense in an awful spot, too. So it was just an avalanche. Once they scored the first time, it was just a massive avalanche, and there was nothing they could do to climb out of it, especially when the Ravens offense started getting it going.
Yeah, kind of agree there. Again, that's an area, Glenn, I think you could definitely work on. He was hitting all the right buttons in that Cincinnati game. It seemed like every time he made a critical coaching decision, it worked out in his favor. Hasn't been the greatest of it this season, and that 4th and 2 is definitely a little bit of a head scratcher, but
it was up there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's something about going for it in certain situations, and I get it, especially when you're 2-8 at the time, 2-9 now. Sometimes just you have a chance to kind of keep momentum going in your direction or take momentum back. You try and do it, but I think the offense's production has just not been nearly the adequate enough for you to feel confident they're going to get those 2 yards. But I guess we'll continue here. Try and get this recap of the Ravens game underway so we can start looking forward to the Falcons game for a little bit. But most important thing, I think I mentioned to you a few weeks ago, at the end of every month, we try and go into our, I'm trying to think of a good name for it. I think I got Fuel the Jet right now as the temporary name for our offseason predictions for what the Jets are going to do. So happy to get your thoughts on that once we get to that point. But yeah, I think we all kind of agree. Defense, strong first half, weak second half. And then obviously Tyrod getting his first start since the Tampa game, filling in for Justin Fields. Give me your thoughts. Ryan, you can go first. You're the guest. So tell us your thoughts on Tyrod taking over for Fields.
it looked like a much better offense. I know we had a couple third and outs on the first drive and everything, but I didn't feel like nervous every time Justin Fields gets the ball. Tyrod, at least he's making good throws. He's making good decisions and everything. I was much more comfortable. And I feel like they opened up the offense a lot more for him to get Brees going in the passing game, to get A.D. Mitchell comfortable as well. And the guy who's been on a hot streak since coming here, John Mechie, as well. Mm-hmm. So I would have loved to see them get Mason Taylor more touches. But I was very happy to see him throwing the ball around and not afraid to sling it downfield as well. Mm-hmm. So I thought the offense under Tyrod Taylor was much better. And I think he needs to start all the way through unless something awful happens to him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mechie. I think he's been probably the bright spot of this team so far, coming in this game, 6 catches, 65 and a touchdown against the Patriots. It was 345 and a touchdown. The guy's always getting open. Definitely a good weapon for what we expect to be a rookie quarterback next year to keep around. I think he's listed as a restricted free agent, and Jets should give him whatever is required to make sure no team kind of scoops him away. But Dom, give me your opinion on Tyrod's first week as a starter since Tampa.
I mean, I loved it. I mean, we had a game over 60 yards of passing net, right? So that was awesome. Spreading the ball out was pretty cool to watch. You know, I agree on the whole Mason. I want to see Mason Taylor get the ball more. You know, but I have to say, I don't see any action downfield, man. They play very conservative. I wish they would take better approach, like take a shot downfield. I mean, if it gets picked, it gets picked. You know, let the defense play back more. You know, you open up the run game that way more. So, I mean, overall, though, I thought the offense came out, you know, like I said, started off slow. They were playing very, very, like they were protecting that ball, not to turn it over, very conservative. And then, you know, I mean, they made their plays. Brees, I mean, at least they realized that Brees can catch the ball out of the backfield. You know, he had a pretty great productive day. 4 catches, 75 yards. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's only going to get better. You're going to start seeing Eggstrands, Coles, you know, suit the players they have now. You know, so, I mean, Mechie, you're right. I mean, 6 catches, 70-something yards and a touchdown. He had a touchdown last week. I mean, have we found our number 2, maybe number 3 slot?
I still feel like number 2 receiver is still a need in free agency or the draft. Right. Ideally, I think your hope is Mechie could be that possession third option with A.D. Mitchell kind of sprinkled in. Then Aaron Smith obviously being your number 5. If that's what you have going into 2026, you feel very confident about your wide receiver room
for sure.
Far too many times, I feel like this has been the Jets' problem for such a long period of time. Is like they get like a little glimmer of light out of a wide receiver. It's like, all right, that guy's good. He's our number 1 receiver. He's our number 2 receiver going into the following year, and it just bottoms out. I just don't want to see that again. I feel so much better if they still take the approach that, you know, a number 2 receiver is needed for this team, which is far way better than what we thought about. I remember when we were talking about this last month, Dom, when we were going through our kind of predictions, I said that Jets need a 2 and a 3. This kind of solves that problem with what they've done at the trade deadline, and hopefully kind of, you know,
I think we found 2 threes.
You need 1 receiver, it's a lot easier to find.
Yeah, for sure. We found 2 threes in a deal. I mean, all these trades they've made, I mean, think about this for a second. Like every trade outside, I mean, everybody they picked up outside, you know, off the old regime. I mean, we got Harrison Phillips, Briggs. Now you have Ricky Mechie. You have what's his name? A.D. Mitchell. I mean, these are players that are coming in and actually doing something. You know, we didn't have this before. You know, so
you know, saw a little bit from Mazzie Smith too, from Dallas, come in and make some plays.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen. I mean, they're not. Listen, what I like about this team here, we're not seeing the same old, like they lay it down, lick their wounds, they're not fighting. These guys are playing. They're playing hard too, which I'm loving. You know.
Yeah, I think that's probably like one of the things you can really say about this coaching staff. It doesn't seem like the players have quit. We've seen under Saleh, there have been times where, especially the Aaron Rodgers injury year, where it just seemed like more and more times than not, especially after they got on that little losing streak, players started checking out. These players don't seem checked out. They all seem like they're fighting for something. And for a lot of players, they are. I mean, they picked up a lot of fringe players that are fighting their tails off for starting gigs. And
what you need, man.
I mentioned this once about how a lot of GMs come into their first year and they just don't know what's around them. They don't know what's in the building. So a lot of times they come in and either one, they are super aggressive because everything that's in the building is crap and I need to upgrade everywhere and just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's why I'm here. The last guy got fired. I'm here to change it up. Other GMs kind of take an approach of like, okay, let me read this team, figure it out, see who needs to stay, and then next year I'll go in and I'll fix everything that needs to be fixed. Mucci kind of took a different approach here where he almost took that second approach, but then realized, oh crap, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed, like ASAP. Defensive line goes out there and makes those 2 trades. You mentioned Briggs and Phillips. Down the road, you saw Michael Carter start to regress. He went out there and made a trade for Brownlee. And then these little trades that he made, like the receiving room was a mess going into the trade deadline. And so, okay, I'm trading star players away. Let me try and get some asset back that I can maybe kind of put something in that receiver room that's a little bit of hope. I mean, this receiver room looks pretty okay right now. I mean, it's not great. It looks okay right now, and we haven't had Garrett Wilson in the mix with these guys. I'm very interested, and obviously we're not going to see that for a few weeks, but I'm very interested to see what this receiving room looks like with Tyrod there and, Mechie, Adonai, and throw Garrett Wilson in the mix as your primary guy. It's going to open things up more for these guys that let's be real, have been getting open, just not getting the ball delivered as much as they should. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I really agree with that too. Like I've been very happy with what Muji has done. I think knowing your mistakes at the beginning, all the things that Jets fans were calling you out for, and then making those moves. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. has looked awesome since coming over here and being our slot cornerback. I know he had some two games that were rough, but overall I've been happy with him. Brandon Stevens, who he got killed for in the beginning of the season, starting to turn it around as well. The defensive tackles, Juwan Briggs and Harrison Phillips look like a dominant duo out there. They're pushing the line back. They're opening holes for our linebackers. Even Francisco Mauigoa has been playing much better lately. So I've been very happy. And the receiving core too, with John Mechie and A.D. Mitchell, they're still 2 unknowns. A.D. Mitchell was behind so many players, solid receivers on that Colts staff. And Mechie too, going from Texans to Philly. He was behind a lot of great receivers over there. Mechie's only 26. A.D. Mitchell is only like 22 or 23. Still very young guys who can be a core for this piece for years to come. Mechie, I think, is great in the slot. And A.D. Mitchell, you never know what he could become because he's always open out there. It's just not getting the ball.
Well, we saw him in that Patriots game. I mean, if he just reels in a few passes, it looks like an outstanding game for, your first start as a member of the team. Just couldn't reel in those passes. And he was going up against Christian Gonzalez, who, say what you want about him. He's top, battled through injuries, but when he's on the field, can't really argue he's a top 10 corner in the league. So Mitchell going up against him and getting open plenty of times was definitely a shine that I wasn't really expecting out of him. But all positives there from Mechie. Any other comments on this game from the offense? We can start kind of rolling into we can talk Falcons first, or we can run right into –
We go right into the Falcons game if you want.
All right, sounds good. So Falcons, obviously, no Penix. I guess I was looking the other day. They actually he actually is going to have surgery or has had surgery on the ACL, so he's
done for the year.
He's done for the year, and they're looking at it as being into next year as well. So they might be thinking about a starting caliber quarterback next year because Kirk Cousins ain't going back.
Yeah, because ACL is normally like an 8 to 10 month recovery timeline. So yeah, he'd definitely be leaning towards mid-September, being ready to really kind of start football activities. And yeah, you kind of need to have some thoughts there. Is Cousins under contract next year? I feel like he is.
I think he is, but I think they can get out of it without taking a huge dead cap. And the problem with the Penix one too is this isn't his first time getting injured in that.
He's had those injuries in college.
Exactly. So they're very concerned right now over there in Atlanta about their future at quarterback right now.
That sucks. That guy coming out of college, I was so pumped about that guy. I mean, I didn't think he was going to go as high as he did in the draft, but I was like, all right, if this is a guy that like falls like many people think he will, I'd definitely be interested in the Jets bringing him in for, even what we had at the time with Rodgers there, him learning behind Rodgers for a couple of years. But obviously, teams got really excited quarterbacks that year. That was crazy. 6 in the first? 14 picks, 15 picks, whatever it was.
That was a crazy quarterback draft.
And most of them have been pretty solid. I mean, that was the May year, right? It was May. It was Caleb Williams,
Devin Williams,
Jaden Daniels,
Bo Nix.
JJ
McCarthy is the only one that seems like he's.
McCarthy looks like trash right now.
He looks
terrible. He reminds me like Zach. He reminds me of Zach Wilson a little bit, man.
He's in concussion protocol right now too. So it's insane that what they're dealing with, and they're going to be having to start another rookie this week.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I mean, obviously it's in a conversation before, but I don't know what the hype was on JJ McCarthy. I never got into it. When people told him being a first round pick, I just thought that was noise. Because that's what quarterbacks are a lot of times when they go into the draft. It's noise. Like there'll be another quarterback somehow, some way, kind of working their way into the first round conversation before the year is over. It's just the way it is. Because quarterbacks sell tickets. I never understood the JJ McCarthy thing. I know he won a national championship, but him winning a national championship with Michigan is like it was. That defense was elite. The running game was elite. All you had to do is throw it like 15 times a game. And just don't be stupid, and you're probably gonna win this game. And I don't know, for whatever reason, during the draft process, teams started falling in love with him. Maybe it's a leadership thing that few fell in love with, but from a fielding, seeing what you see in the field, I had Zach Wilson vibes even in college.
Yeah, it did. It looked very much like it. I was watching him throw them passes into tight coverage. Like why was he throwing? The guy's covered by 3 people. He's making boneheaded decisions. I'm like, he's definitely not between the ears. I'll tell you that right now. Something
he doesn't have the arm to make those deep throws either. He does not have a strong arm. And to try, he's shell shocked right now. He is. He needs to sit for the rest of the year, and they got to figure something out with him to see if they're the future. Letting go of Sam was a major disaster.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, really? You had Sam Darnold, bro. At the very least, tag him for 1 year.
Yeah,
at the very least, this wouldn't be an issue because he'd be their long-term answer. You know what I'm saying? Now look what he's doing over in Seattle. And we had him too, by the way, but whatever.
Carolina did too. Carolina and the 49ers did too.
Carolina, 49ers. Was there another team along the way too?
I think he went from the 49ers right to Minnesota. But you know what? Maybe working under Shanahan for that year or two he was there taught him a lot.
Well, look at Mac Jones now. Everybody's saying that he's going to be the future Jets quarterback because of how good he's doing. It's Mac Jones.
Oh, Mac Jones. Hey man, as a 1 year rental, I wouldn't be mad.
There's a guy in free agency that I think would be a good young quarterback for the Jets, who I have in my mock off season.
Philly.
All right, we'll tune to that pretty soon. So let's go right into Atlanta games so we can start talking about that off-season stuff because that's always the entertaining stuff. When we're Jet fans, we talk about the off-season, late October, early November, mid-November. It doesn't matter when it is. It's always about the off-season.
Oh yeah.
All right, so. With this Atlanta game, obviously, Kirk Cousins started the rest of the way. What are your areas for – either you can jump in first. What are your areas for advantage for the Jets? Where can the Jets take advantage of this team most?
I mean, I would like to say our edge rushers could get to Kirk Cousins, but I'm not seeing it. I mean, they need to stop. I think the only advantage we have possibly would be that defensive line. Maybe getting to Kirk Cousins because he's not mobile. McDonald is going to have to play his ass off, and so is Johnson. Oh my gosh,
Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, going to have to play his. I mean, he's going to have to play his ass off. I mean, that's where I see one advantage. Now, is Drake London playing this game or
no? I think he's out for a little bit. He's out for a little bit. I'm pretty sure
they got no receivers.
Yeah. Unless you're going to be afraid of Darnell Mooney coming at you.
Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts.
I've seen that story many times. But maybe we get a game with our pick. This could be the game.
This could be it. We've already set the record now with 11 straight games without an interception. Previous record was
another Jet record.
First interception by a rookie. Can we say that? Could Moore get his first interception or A.Z. Thomas?
Anybody.
Just somebody.
Anybody. Just get it over with.
They probably had something at the beginning of the year. The player who gets the first pick of the year gets a round of drinks from the entire team, whatever, and they're still waiting for that drink, man. Some those drinks are getting spoiled. They're getting expired.
Seeing the stat every week that there's been over 100 interceptions and the Jets have 0 of them. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think they popped it up last week. It was like 220. I'm like, oh my god.
Not one for us.
We almost had one, but Tony Adams hit it out of Moore's hand.
That guy's a bum. I don't even understand why Aaron Glenn plays him. I mean, we
limited options.
Know that. He probably doesn't have anybody.
Yeah, that's the problem. Limited
Cisco getting injured screwed everything. I think Cisco was playing better
he started getting better. You're right.
Yeah, he started getting better, and then he goes down for the season, and they're like, "Damn, we have to play Tony Adams now."
Again, we're gonna have a whole new secondary next
gift that keeps on giving. Tony Adams.
Mm-hmm. I would have rather had Jarius Monroe bring him up and just throw him out there.
Fuck it.
What do you have to lose at this point? I mean, Adams is like he's dirty on the field. What about that pass interference? I mean, he had the nerve to get up after yanking this guy's arm off, basically. Mm-hmm. So he had the nerve to get up like, me? What are you talking about? I didn't do anything.
Even the announcers were laughing at him, being like, dude, what are you doing?
That was too much.
Oh, God.
Guy literally yanked the guy's arm off, basically. It's like, all right, yeah, let's play that game. But anyway, my concern, and you were talking about too with the Jets defensive line, whatever, but these edge rushers, I mean, love McDonald, love Jermaine Johnson, whatever, but they've been far too inconsistent, like from a providing pressure and like actually getting to the quarterback standpoint. And I don't think the coverage has been that damn bad. Like usually, like when you say it's all right, is the defensive line getting there? Well, the corners are not covering, so it's like the guy's getting his ball out of his hands quick. But it's been decent coverage downfield. It hasn't been great. It's been decent enough where, like McDonald, for example, he had the 2-sack game, he had the 4-sack game. And then it's just been a lot of just inconsistency throughout the year. Jermaine Johnson, I mean,
it's weird.
Yeah. It's just very weird season from those two guys, especially coming off a 10-sack season for McDonald. I know you expected from Jermaine Johnson coming off the Achilles, there was going to be a little bit of a, usually takes about a year before he gets back to that full speed, so maybe there's something there. But damn, like just wish you get a little bit more of a look out of those two guys because those are the key pieces left when you really look at this defense. Those two guys, everyone else is basically gone. Sherwood's had a down year. Quincy, he's had up and down, but he's playing better now. At least getting to the football from the sidelines. But it's really those interior guys that are giving the most promise, and then those edge guys just playing better than what we've had, but still not nearly kind of what we would need from when you look at everyone that's gone on this defense now. Mm-hmm. But nothing you can do there. But from an offense standpoint, though, an Atlanta defense it's been pretty strong this year.
Revenge game.
But this Jets running game's got to get going. What was that?
All brick.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big test for the offensive line. They got 2 young edge rushers out there. The defensive line, the linebackers, they blitz a lot over in Atlanta. It's going to be a tough one. I'm interested to see how Fashanu and Membu are going to do. They've been stalwart so far.
They've been solid this year. It almost gets to a point like, all right, this for a fact you got 3/5 of this offensive line figured out for long term. You just got to figure out those next 2 pieces and really kind of get this offensive line moving in the next direction. But they've got to get this running game going. That's probably the one area that's, again, it's about inconsistency when you talk about this team. They showed bright spots, but this offensive line, with the running game at least, like Breece Hall getting 2.5 yards a carry against the Ravens. I know they're a strong defense, but they've kind of had their issues with stopping the run. So a little concerning that they weren't able to get enough running yards with Breece Hall back there. He was more of a machine in the receiving game than he was in the passing game. But this running game just has to. If the Jets are going to win some games down the stretch here, and I know it's going to upset the tank crowd, but if they're going to win some games down the stretch here, it's got to be on the back of the running game because that's really what this offense was designed to go around. But I mean, what do you guys see when you're looking at this team and like, all right, their offensive line strong. they're just not doing enough in the run game. What do you think is missing? Is it more Brees just not having the vision to see it? Is it just not enough movement? What do you guys think is the biggest issue there?
I mean, I think that the threat of the pass being not there is stacking the box with 8, 9 defenders. So, of course, the running game is going to take a hit. We need a quarterback. You bring in a quarterback that could definitely stretch out that field. That's why I'm saying I don't see long shots downfield. Like Tyrod, you got Arian Smith. He's supposedly the missile, right? He can run a 4.2 40, whatever it was. Send him out for a long one. Stretch out the field. You do that, these DBs, linebacker is going to step back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So once you get that passing attack going, it's going to open up the running game. And then that's how I think they should approach this game, is go deep on the very first play of the game.
I agree with that too. I think something that's been hurting the run game too is the offensive line. I think has been solid in it. It's the tight end blocking. The tight ends, Mason Taylor's been doing an okay job, but Jeremy Ruckert's been a disaster blocking. So you got to get those guys to start blocking too. The receivers even have been blocking really good. Mechie was out there hitting people all over the place the other day. But I think the tight ends, we got to get better blocking from a tight ends. But the offensive line, I think they're going to get it going. But like Don said, I think you got to take your shots. Let Tyrod throw it. He's got a cannon of an arm. Let him throw it down the field to A.D. Mitchell or Arian Smith. Let them beat you with their speed.
They got it.
There were a few shots taken. I don't know if it's – I mean, Tyrod's always had a pretty long ball, but I don't know if it's a matter of like just inaccuracy or something like that, because there were the few deep shots he did take. There was A.D. Mitchell down the sideline, and I think it was who ran the post in the middle of the game. I forget who it was. But there was a few options that he had, and it just completely sailed the ball past everyone. So I don't know if it's just an inaccuracy thing, because we haven't seen Tyrod play for a long period of time. Even against the Bucks, there wasn't many deep shots taken in that game either. But yeah, I think that's an area where this team severely lacked is one, operating an offense. They finally seem like they have Tyrod be able to operate it. Now it's about
we have a couple of new toys.
There's been a severe lack of chunk plays in this offense for all year long. Definitely something they need to work on moving forward. But do you guys have a prediction for this game as far as how you think it's going to land off?
I think the Jets are going to pull out the victory. I think they're going to win, let's say, 24-21. Closer game.
Tom?
I'm on your path as well. I'm thinking like 24, 27 points they score. But here's the other side of it. Okay? It's called Bijan Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So if they're able to contain him like they contained Derrick Henry outside of those 2 scoring touchdowns, I mean, he really didn't run the ball well, Henry. Then they have a shot. But if this guy is getting these screen passes and taking them for 40, 50 yards, and that's what he does really well, and if they can't stop that, and the Jets defense were notorious, they cannot stop that screen pass.
Right.
Those dump off passes, the guy goes. If that's the theme of the game, they're going to lose the game big. Let's put it that way. That's it. But I'm more on your side, though. I think more like 24, 21, 24, 27, 24 type of game.
To push back a little bit, though, the Jets defense, you're not going to trust Kirk Cousins to let the ball rip either. He's been awful. So they're going to load the box against
Bijan. In the cold. He was playing in a dome last week. It's not going to be a dome this time around.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kirk Cousins, I think, back there. If it was Penix, I'd be a little more worried. I think Penix is a better quarterback at this stage. But Kirk Cousins back there to load the box. We've been better on the run defense lately anyway. And going against those screens, too, they were throwing some receiver and running back screens in Baltimore, and the Jets were doing a pretty good job covering it.
About time.
Yeah, right? Our cornerbacks are being physical, mainly Jarvis Brownlee Jr., but I think you just got to key in. Like you said, you got to key in on Bijan and can't let him get going, because if you do, it's going to be a long day.
Oh, 100%.
Well, we've seen that guy, what he could do when he gets going. The offense runs through him primarily. Big reason why they got the upset against the Bills in week 5, week 6, whatever it was, is just his ability to run the football, and what he had 180 yards rushing or something like that, 190 yards rushing. He was an animal that game, and basically like every running back that has played the Bills has been that way this year. It seems like if you're doing those daily fantasies, just look who the Bills are playing that week and take that running back. They've been awful this year. But I'm kind of in line with you guys. I do think there's gonna be a little bit more of a gap in the score. I know Atlanta's favored right now, which I thought was a little strange. I mean, it's the Jets, so I don't really expect them to be favored much. But Atlanta's playing a little with Kirk Cousins, and it's not the greatest product that they put on the field the last few weeks, although they did beat New Orleans last week. I do think the Jets are going to win this game. I think being outside in the cold for Kirk Cousins is probably going to be a little bit of a different factor. We haven't seen him play well outdoors yet. I have the Jets winning this one 24-14. I think it's going to be 17-14 going into the fourth quarter. The Jets are going to have that pull-away touchdown, similar to what they did against Cleveland. So I think you're going to see very similar game what we saw against Cleveland. Only not 2 kickoff return touchdowns. That'd be pretty crazy.
Yeah, it would be.
I don't know if we get that 2 times in 1 year. Can't play that card too many times. All right. That's all I have for this game. If any of you have any other comments, let me know. But I think we just jump right into our offseason prediction and can wrap this up, whatever. But I'm going to go a little different route, Dom, than we did last week.
Okay.
I'm going to show off my slides, my little PowerPoint skills. Go through what I've kind of identified as and I'll pull it up here in a second here. But feel free to let me know, guys. There we go. Feel free to let me know, guys. So here's our upcoming free agents, Lazard, Myers. So the way I'm going to go about this is I'm going to go through our list of free agents, and this is our re-sign period, which guys we target as far as guys to bring back. And then I have our free agent list. If there's someone on your mind that's not on my list, feel free to kind of chime in, and let's kind of almost co-GM this thing to build the best possible Jets roster. We can kind of have those discussions, these key discussions that you would expect from a front office to have. And let's see what we got to do here to try and build the best possible product going into 2026. So let's start it off here. Upcoming free agents. A lot of noise here. Mostly Mechie, obviously in the first column, restricted free agent. I mentioned earlier, and I think, let me know if either of you disagree, but I think Jets need to do whatever it takes to make sure that they put a tender on him that other teams are not going to be able to match. I think what makes sense for him is a second round tender. I don't know if another team is going to pony up a second round pick for him. I think a third round pick, maybe you can see a team going a little crazy, and even that I think is probably unlikely. But Mechie on this list, I think Brees, a player that the Jets need to do whatever possible. If they can give him an extension, great. If not, transition tag him. Other than that, the far off column, I think Rucker. I know you guys mentioned he's kind of having a down year. I think it's a guy you bring back as your third option at tight end. Obviously, looking forward into what free agency might be and what the draft looks like to potentially upgrade at the second spot, or even level up over Mason Taylor if you find something better. But I think tight end is obviously an area you need to improve. And then let's talk the interior offensive line. I think that's the biggest topic of conversation for this team, especially with the upcoming free agents. Mentioned it earlier, we got 3 of the 5 locked in for the foreseeable future. Myers, ABT, and John Simpson are all free agents going into the offseason. Ryan, I guess we'll start with you. If you're the Jets in this position, obviously you'd like continuity. You'd like to bring back what's been working this year. What are your thoughts on how the Jets should approach these 3 players in the offseason?
I was excited for today. I wrote everything down for free agent targets, all this. I was excited. So I have the Jets re-signing both John Simpson and Josh Myers. Josh Myers to a 1-year deal just to have a backup type of center. Mm-hmm. And John Simpson to a 2-year deal because I think the continuity is a big thing. He's a heartbeat on that offensive line. I think getting more of a stable quarterback back there will help him as well. Mm-hmm. He's just great run blocker, getting better in pass blocking. He's only 27, 28 years old too. Yeah. So I think keeping the continuity, especially next to Fashanu, I think would be very good. and keeping Myers too, because I think Myers has been fine. I would let AVT walk. I love AVT, but the injuries are a big concern with him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Don, what about you?
Well, actually, I think you hit it right on the head. Definitely Myers back. I want Simpson back. I mean, if you want to try to bring AVT on a cheap deal, like just a prove it deal, possibly, but I don't know how much is a prove it deal going to be worth for him, you know?
It's going to be pricey for him. I think what he's proved before.
Listen, we got 2-2s next year. If you wanted to upgrade that position, just get somebody solid in there, young, reset that whole guard situation, cheap contract, do it. But yeah, I'm on board with you there. I like to bring back Myers and definitely Simpson as well.
So I was toying around with this idea a little bit about like what would it, because the Jets have $100 million in cap space. They're not going to use it all. I think it's fair to say they're going to have a lot left over that they're probably going to carry over into next year as well. Not to mention next year they have a huge amount of cap space, so you can screw around with the cap however you want. But I was toying with the idea of what would it cost to bring back all three in this. And I obviously, Simpson, if he gets wind that AVT is coming back, he knows that probably means he's not your primary starter. So obviously there's that aspect to it as well. But, Myers, you're probably going to get him for $2 million. So I don't think that's really a decision to make. He's back. Granted, unless he decides to move elsewhere. But he's probably back on a very minimal contract. Simpson and AVT is the tricky one. Like AVT, I know, Ryan, you were mentioning he's probably going to get a lot of money, but I think it kind of caps off at around $8 or $9 million, probably on that 1 year prove it deal. I don't think it reaches too much more than that. I mean, teams need offensive linemen, so someone could come out and go crazy. But I think maybe he can be had for around that value. And then Simpson, Simpson's a tricky one because he's a proven lineman. He's not going to get like that mid-tier, like top-end lineman money. He's probably also in that ballpark of about $8 million. I think his current contract's about $6 million a year. So maybe he gets a little bit of a bump in pay because he was a little bit of an unknown going into this contract. Now you know what you get. So you're talking about potentially be able to bring back all three of these guys somewhere in the neighborhood of about $15 million, maybe $16 million. Is that an area where because they're going to need interior offensive line depth as well, is another area too. Not to mention AVT can play all of the offensive line, but I know you don't want to screw around with that too much, especially with his injury history. But is that an area that, you might toy around with saying, okay, we can have all three of these guys. Let's call it $17 million and still have plenty of cap room, and your offensive line is likely set for the season.
I think it's something to consider, especially if you go into free agency and see if the offensive line free agency is depleted.
Mm-hmm.
He's for $8 million. I don't feel comfortable giving him that amount because he's an injury-prone lineman. I'd have to get a better deal than that, maybe $6 million, $5 million or something. I know which would be tough, but he's been injury-prone most of his career. Simpson, I'd feel much better given that type of contract too because he's proved he can stay healthy and plays hurt as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if the offensive line free agents is a depleted area, then I'd be happy bringing all three back just to keep that continuity. But I'd be okay letting AVT walk too because I think Tippmann's a better right guard anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I think Tippmann's played really solid. I think when you look at AVT, obviously the offensive line reaches another level when he's on the field. He's the team's best run blocker, and I think the run block will get huge uptick if he's out there. But yeah, it is a tough call, especially when you consider, like, I don't know what Jets are going to do at center position, but there's center out there that catches a lot of people's eyes if he makes it to the open market. As I was saying, it's going to cost about $16 million to keep all three. What if you can allocate some of those resources to get, another piece of this offensive line stabilized for the next 4 years as well? Would be kind of ideal. But yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. More likely than not, they're keeping two, but just toying with the idea of is there a way to keep all three of these guys and just really have some solid offensive line play on the interior? But yeah, I think we all can agree there. It makes the most sense for Simpson and Myers, probably under $10 million in total value to keep all three back. Now,
I got something. Hold on one second. So another thing too, I mean, you got to also think about this. Like we just brought up that, Tittman is playing really solid at right guard. Okay. Now let's just assume, I mean, listen, we could take out, listen, we have 2 second rounders next year. Why not draft like the top rated center and come in and boom, there we go. We're set for 4 or 5 years.
Slaughter from Florida this year is a solid option in the second round.
That's what I'm saying. So you bring in a fresh face and is still young, and you keep Tittman at right guard. You have Simpson at left. Bro, that's your whole offensive line. You're set now, especially if you bring in Fasciano on the other side, and then you got Membo on the right tackle side. I think that's probably your best bet. Let AVT walk, and let's just lick our wounds and move on, That's what I would do.
Yeah. I know Briggs on this list is like exclusive rights free agents, but I know that basically means he's not going anywhere. So obviously, like, he's not truly a guy that's a threat to lead the building. I guess 2 more names to kind of eyeball here that might be internal conversations. One being Tyrod Taylor. Obviously, the Jets have a situation at quarterback that is a glaring one. And what they do with Fields obviously might have something to do with what they do with Taylor. Obviously, Fields just doesn't seem like he belongs here. I think if you're letting Fields walk, you're probably going to let him walk on post-June 1 so you get some cap relief, and you probably trigger some of that $10 million savings into a $5 or $6 million contract for Tyrod Taylor. Without going too much into the cards on what we're expecting moving forward, do you guys have a plan or thoughts on the quarterback position into at least leading up to free agency? We'll see what happens with the draft, but into free agency, do you guys have any thoughts there?
Yeah, I don't think the Jets are going to cut Justin Fields. I really don't. I think they're going to keep him. Tyrod, I think, retires. And there's a quarterback that not a lot of people are talking about that's going to be a free agent this year. I would give Malik Willis a 1-year deal. I think he's looked solid when he's come in for opportunities for Green Bay. I know a lot of people were concerned about him in Tennessee, but when he's come into play for Green Bay, he's looked very, very good. Good footwork, can of an arm, not afraid to run the ball as well. So give him a shot. Or you could trade one of your late round picks for a guy like Tanner McKee from Philadelphia.
That's who I like.
That's who I really like too. I was just doing this without a trade option. So I went Malik Willis, but Tanner McKee would be my number one guy. He's 6'6", 26 years old, 200 plus pounds, solid guy with a cannon of an arm who's 3-0 in every game he's played.
Dude, that's the guy. Honestly, if we didn't come out with a quarterback in the first round, figure out a way to trade for this kid. 26 years old. Okay. Big guy, big arm.
I'm shocked the Saints didn't trade for him.
Yeah.
With Kellen Moore as their head coach.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah. True.
I
think about that.
And that might be the area, because I honestly think, here's like me going a little like mad scientist a little here. I think even if the Saints are picking top 3, top 5, I honestly don't think they're picking a quarterback. I think that they're fully invested into what the 2027 class is going to look like with Arch Manning specifically, having some family ties, obviously, with the original Arch Manning playing there once upon a time. I'm starting to kind of get like some comfortability to the fact that a lot of these scouts don't seem intrigued with Mendoza specifically, and he might even, based on what we've seen the last few weeks out of Simpson, Mendoza might be the only one to come out. Like, everyone swears up and down Dante Moore has no interest in coming out of the draft. Simpson has had a rough couple weeks, and the big thing on him was he probably needs more starts, and I think that kind of shows it. Especially, you can't have many bad starts if you're trying to be a one-and-done prospect. Mendoza very possibly could be the one top-tier quarterback, and a lot of teams don't seem like they're as interested, which leads to the 2027 class. I think Saints might be targeting there.
I think the Saints, if Mendoza's there, I think they're taking him.
You think so?
I don't think they're comfortable.
I guess wishful thinking for me.
Huh?
I guess wishful thinking for me.
I think Mendoza, I'm not even that high on Mendoza. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft, but I've been on the bar of I'd rather go with a Tanner McKee, who I think is better than all the quarterbacks in this draft. I think Simpson ends up going back to college. I think Moore goes back to college. I think Matier goes back. You're going to be left with the top quarterbacks being Mendoza, Nussmeier, who I do like, Nussmeier, Allar, Carson Beck. Like, those are going to be your guys. Levitt, if you're comfortable with that, or Taylor Green too from Arkansas. So you got all of these guys who, honestly, I don't think this is a strong quarterback class. The Jets have 3 first-round picks next year. Go after one that's good. There. Sayin from Ohio State looks like he's going to be a monster next year. So that would be somebody I would target, or Carr from Notre Dame.
Another Carr?
Yeah.
Is it related?
I don't know, honestly. I think maybe younger brother.
I don't think it is. Sure. I don't think it is because they showed something with on the Monday Night Football when Vegas was playing. Was it last week or this week? Last week. Carr was on the fourth quarter with the Manning cast thing, and they showed a picture of the 3 cars, and the third one is older than the 2. So
okay.
So maybe it's a cousin or something like that, but they showed the 3 brothers on one screen or whatever. Or maybe that the 4th brother was on a camping trip or something like that. Who knows? But for that one picture, it was just the 3 of them. But another car in the NFL would be very interesting. Okay, so I kind of was on the same ballpark. Taylor probably not sticking around, but obviously a name you got to look at because the Jets quarterback situation is a huge flux. And then the other name on this list that I was kind of eyeballing was Quincy Williams. I think, and I still kind of lean on this way that he probably won't be back. But this linebacking core probably needs another player in there. And Quincy's kind of responded well to the benching since he's been back. He's been kind of not back to his old self, but better, closer to it than he was early in the year.
He's been much better.
Yeah. Any thoughts there? And it's probably going to cost you. Do you think the Jets go that route with Quincy, paying 2 guys in the middle, probably 15 or so each?
I might be there. I might be on the minority side. I think they do. I think they give him a 2-year deal because I think he is a AG type of guy, and a guy who I don't see on this list. I see them picking back up McCrary Ball too, as well for special teams and for linebacker. He was a captain this year. I think Quincy is an AG type of player. Sherwood, on the other hand, don't be shocked if they try to find a trade partner with him for him or something like that, because I don't think he fits this defense. But Quincy, I see being here for about 2 or 3 more years. I would re-sign him.
Do you either know what the cap ramifications are for Sherwood? I think when I looked at it, the cap savings actually it wouldn't even exist at all, even with a trade. Just trying to pull it up here. 1 second.
I know it was 3-year 45 he got.
Yeah, 3-year 45, but I think his cap hit for 25 was like minimal. So for Sherwood, if they were to trade him pre-June 1, where are you again? They would get like $1 million cap saving. A post-June 1. Post-June 1 would be the way to go. Maybe you can send him to Salah and say, hey, here's your guy back.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah. So maybe there is something there. I think that's the way it would have to go if you're going to go that route, but that would show a little bit of guts, I think, from this coaching staff. Say, hey, we completely dropped the ball on this guy here. We were 1,000% wrong.
Well, think about it. They traded Sauce after extending him. So
yeah, well, true. Yeah, that's actually a good point. All right, so Ryan, you're on the fence of getting Quincy, likely trading Sherwood for probably a day 3 pick.
Yeah, you could probably get a 4th round pick swap and stuff for him.
Yeah. But... All right. So Dom, what do you say about that?
If the deal was they're able to let Sherwood go, I want Quincy back because you need to have him back. But they still need to address linebacker,
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one thing. Through either draft or through free agency, they're gonna have to spend some money here. They're gonna have to bring some veterans in, on that defensive staff. I'm not saying you definitely need another corner. You're gonna need 2 safeties. You're gonna need at least another linebacker and another edge player, another defensive lineman. I mean, there's a lot of pieces missing,
Yeah.
But
so we'll call it. We got low ball. Teams know that we're trying to trim cap, whatever. So Don, the decision is we'll say Quincy coming back, $15 million or so. Sherwood going out for let's say someone low balls to a 5th round pick.
Who even cares?
I'd take that. Get something for him. Maybe a 5th round pick and a young player.
That's it. Oh, they nail those deals all the time. Yeah. So far, it's been really well. Knock on wood.
Gotcha. All right. So just to make sure we're all in line here so far. So we're go column by column, bringing back Myers, bringing back Mechie. I mean, Nwangu's on this list. It's probably a minimal deal. I think they do bring him back. I know his injuries are a problem, but no reason not to bring back a core special teamer, in my opinion. Quincy coming back, Brees coming back, Simpson coming back, and
Briggs, of course.
Yeah,
Briggs. Bring back Nick Folk too. He's a free agent after
this
year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I took the easy route out. I was ignoring specialists for the most.
They've been our best part this year.
He has been. Nwangu.
I would even bring back Chuck Okorafor as a veteran tackle backup.
Yeah,
that's good to get back here for sure.
All right, I think we're in decent shape here. I mean, like I said, you probably bring back Ruckert on a very minimal deal just to be your 3rd guy. But that's more fringe type of stuff. We're trying to fill out the top of our roster as much as possible. But yeah, so I think we're all in kind of agreement there. Could probably bring back all these guys, and you're still, dealing with roughly 65, 70 million in cap, probably around 70 million cap space after you're all said and done with these guys.
Possibly, you're right.
Which is absolutely kind of crazy. And that's with the big contract, the Brees and Quincy. All right, so after it's all said and done, our free agency / draft needs are quarterback, starter, obviously, plus a backup / bridge guy. But you're saying probably keeping Fields, so it kind of changes that theory / process a little bit. Running back isn't a need anymore because we have Brees, so kind of ignore that one. Wide receiver still a need. Interior offensive line no longer a need because we kind of filled it out. Although depth is still going to be something that will be kind of targeted through various channels in the free agency. Tight end, I mentioned tight end 1 or 2, depending on how you kind of attack that position is a need. Linebacker, I had 2 on here. I think when I initially did that, I was talking about Sherwood being your top guy isn't ideal. You probably still need 2 top guys above him on the depth chart. Bringing Quincy probably says you still need 2 linebackers, but maybe not a top tier anymore, just a second guy and a 3rd guy option. Nickel / safety, probably need a couple of those guys.
You need 4 of those guys.
Again, we're trying to fill out the top of our depth chart. I'm not.
I get it. No, I get it.
Filling this out, but as much as we can do, and then interior and defensive line and edge, it's always going to be a need to some degree. Edge obviously being probably a little bit more the priority, but let's kind of dive into that. Any questions or comments on any of these needs, or am I missing something?
No, I think those needs are exactly what they do. I have 5 players that I think the Jets would sign to fill some of them.
Yeah,
this free agency, 2 big ones and then 3 decent players. Mm-hmm. So,
all right, let's see the notable free agents, and mine's cut off a little bit here. All right, so quarterbacks. I looked at free agency only. I know you had a trade target potentially that we could talk through. Russell Wilson, Mariota. The list is just disgusting from a quarterback standpoint. Taylor, Flacco, Trubisky. You mentioned Malik Willis. I think there's some intrigue to that option, especially being under LaFleur for a couple years, behind
Jordan
Love for a couple years. That's probably a fair target, I would say. My question is, what does something like that go for? We've seen some of this stuff happen in the past. Like, for example, Matt Castle, although he did have a year starting, you see sometimes these teams get desperate for quarterback and they try and pony up to the backup of a great quarterback or a really good quarterback. Say, okay, he's got to be the next coming. And we saw Hasselbeck, for example, behind Brett Favre for all those years.
Yeah,
get a big contract from Seattle after that, without much starting, any starting. So what do you guys, if you're on the Malik Willis train, what does a signing like that go for, do you think?
I don't think he's going to be too expensive. I think a 1-year prove it deal would get it done. Give him starting experience because he's still a young quarterback, and if he can play up to the ability we hope he can, then it bounces into a bigger contract the next year, whether it's with the Jets or with another team. And if he doesn't, well, then he gets to go back to being a backup, and the Jets pick a quarterback high in the next draft. So it's, I think, a 1-year prove it deal. I don't think it's going to be too expensive for him. I think just to prove it that way, I think would be good. Either that or you go Mariota as a free agent option.
No, we're good. I have no interest in the Mariota hype. I not at all. Not inside as well at all. So like when you look at like last year's free agency class, Zach Wilson got $6 million, and we all know what he was. So obviously we all understand quarterbacks are a huge thing. Do you think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like $10 million? I know Sam got $10 million that 1 year with Minnesota, or $12 million, somewhere in that ballpark. We say it kind of falls somewhere around $8 million a year for like Malik Willis, 8 to 10.
I could see him going for a $7 to $8 million deal for 1 year, and I'd be okay paying for that because you're banking on the upside of him. We did the same thing for Fields. It just hasn't worked.
Now, if you're doing this, are you kind of leaving Fields hostage for a minute, saying, okay, you're sticking around for now, but let's see how this roster shapes out before we make a decision on post-June wanting you or pre-June one, or just
I'm going to keep him here. I'm going to keep him here. He can compete with Willis for the starting job, but I think Willis ends up taking it, and you keep him here because I don't think this quarterback class is going to be that strong this year. So, and there's a lot. This is a defensive draft coming up. There's a lot of great players coming into this draft on the defensive side, and I think that could help out the Jets defense. And then the offensive draft is next year where you can get your receivers, or even there's a couple top receivers in this draft if you want to try to strike for one later in the first round. But I think defense should be a very big key for this draft coming up.
Gotcha. Dom, what do you think? Are you giving Malik Willis the keys to the kingdom, or are you?
I don't know if I would do quite that. It depends on, like, for instance, I mean, what I would do is one thing. I mean, it depends on how. All right, so let's say we finish with a top 1 or 2. All right, I'm going to look at the quarterback. But if I'm picking 5 to 7, I'm not trading everything we just gave up, and built up our draft capital to move up to get anybody. So then I'm going best player available, and then try to strike a deal for the kid out of Philly. See how that works out. And then if it doesn't work out, guess what? I got 3 picks in 2027. If you want your guy, go up and get him.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
That's probably the best. I mean, that's the safest play. But if I'm sitting at number 4 right now, I want to move up all the way to number 1. It's going to cost me my 1 and maybe a second to go up to get like a Mendoza, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it because we're losing 3 players that way.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's a quarterback tax on that too.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Sitting at 5, 6, Caleb Downs. I'm just saying.
That's actually who I had as the first pick in my mock draft that I did today.
I mean,
it was him or Arvil Reese.
Dude, that guy's a monster.
Yeah. And imagine him and Moore back there in our safety room.
Gosh, that would be just insane. I mean, he's definitely not what's his name over there? Who's the other guy we got? Jamal Adams. This guy, he's a punisher, bro. So
So here's something I'll say, like with the Malik Willis thing, and I think it's obvious intrigue for sure. And I think Ryan, I think it's a good call out for you for sure. My biggest fear of the way the Jets are currently structured is going into this draft and being obvious quarterback. And I think that's where they are right now. Like if the season were over today, and and let's say they did bring back Tyrod Taylor, and they did bring back Fields, I think you can circle the Jets as no matter what. If there's a quarterback there, they're picking it. I mean, and they have no choice basically. Like that's kind of the situation. I'm not saying Malik Willis answers your quarterback problems for the next 5 or 10 years, but what he does do for you is he produces the mirage that we feel confident with. We can go into the season with this guy to see what he has and then move into the future to, into 2027 and maybe pick quarterback that draft. I don't think he even stops you either if for whatever reason Fernando Mendoza is there and he slips to 4, slips to 5, wherever you're picking. If other teams just say, okay, we're not into it this year, he also doesn't stop you from picking that quarterback. He also doesn't force, and this is a conversation me and Dom have had for a period of time. If Malik Willis comes in there and he can at least hold down the fort for 3 or 5 games, or even more than that, he also doesn't force the hand either. I said it for a while. Like everyone's ideal situation is we want to draft a quarterback, let him sit for a little bit. It's easier said than done because the second that starter has a bad game or two, the entire New York media and everyone around him is going to be clamoring for the quarterback to be starting. And that still could very well be the case. Malik Willis comes in, doesn't have a good first few games, will still be in that conversation. Mm-hmm. But I do like the fact that you're kind of putting a little bit of a little bit of mystery to what you might want to do with that top spot. So I'm kind of with you on that. And I don't know, Dom, if you're on board, but $8 million to Malik Willis, you need someone back there, and you probably post June 1 Fields, depending on how the rest of the draft falls out, or how your quarterback room shakes up. It's probably what happens there. So it ends up being, at least in the current cap, a net nothing on an $8 million deal.
If you do that too, like let's say you do go Malik Willis and then you do post June 1st cut Justin Fields, you could take your shot on like a Drew Allar in the 5th round or something like that. Because then look at him being one of the top quarterbacks. If he came out last year, he would have been picked in the 1st round. And then this year, he was looked at before the year started, him and Nussmeier, as being 2 of the top quarterbacks in the league or the draft. Mm-hmm. So I think if you take Allar late, if you get a veteran and then Allar late, that leaves some room for opportunity as well.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Ain't nothing wrong with that idea either. You know what? I have to say this, though. I mean, depending on how the Jets approach this, I mean, here's the thing. They have nobody that can coach up this kid or these young quarterbacks. I mean, there's nobody with experience there. I'm not saying they cannot do it. They're unproven, right? You almost have to bring in somebody like they tried to do for Zach Wilson, but unfortunately, Mr. Knapp passed. But it's going to have to be the same situation. It's going to have to be a developmental type of coach that comes in and knows how to work with these young kids.
It doesn't help too that for Justin Fields we brought in a running back coach to be his quarterback coach.
That was very strange. I thought that was strange.
Bring in like a Chad Pennington to be his quarterback coach 100%. Or something like that. Like,
dude, that was our last best quarterback we ever drafted.
Mm-hmm. Bring in somebody like that has quarterback experience to actually teach your quarterback. Hell, I'd bring in Doug Peterson as like an offensive guru to help our offensive coordinator, a young guy. I was clamoring for him to be like an assistant head coach the Jets should have hired. And he was a quarterback that could have worked with worked with our guys. Mm-hmm. Like Doug Peterson was an option, but I think he's going to be a head coach somewhere soon.
Yeah, probably. Mm-hmm.
I never really understood the
whole. Always bring in Adam Gase.
Oh my god! That this channel does not subscribe to Adam Gase's name being used.
Here's a name. Byron Leftwich.
You know what? Yeah, that is.
What is he up to now? Like I know he was behind. He was there as OC when Brady was there. What happened to him after that? Did
he got fired, and I think he found a job maybe in college, but I thought he did a good job as offensive coordinator. And honestly, bringing him back on this staff as like a quarterback coach,
That'd be missed.
I think would be great. He actually knows the position.
It's good value.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got experience calling plays too, and could help out our young offensive coordinator.
No, I totally agree.
Who's Green Bay's quarterbacks coach?
What?
Can Malik Willis bring him along with him too?
You could.
Remember when that was a thing for such a long period of time? Like it was almost like a revolving door of who's the quarterback coach for Green Bay. Just keep bringing him in. Keep bringing him in. Every couple of years, there's a new quarterback coach coming in, and he's getting an offensive coordinator job somewhere. But all right, so we got Malik Willis, $8 million. He's your penciled-in starter going into the year, with obviously a lot of time left between now and the start of the year to figure out if we're getting a rookie, if we're going to do something different, get fancy with our picks. Everything's open for that potential. Running back, obviously, I have it listed here, but
Brees.
the idea is we're keeping Brees. I listed the wide receivers, and I think initially when we did this last month, I kind of had a freedom wide receiver as a priority based on the fact that we just needed a 2 and a 3. I think you kind of get rid of that if you bring in a fringe guy like Tim Patrick or Shaheed on a reasonably cheap deal, whatever. Maybe you do, but I honestly think that kind of log jams your room a little bit too for guys like Mitchell and Mechie, whatever. So I honestly think that from a free agency standpoint, if Alec Pierce comes in on a contract, which I don't think he's going to come to the Jets, honestly. I know it's everyone's like kind of glowing player or whatever. If you can get a guy like that, fine. But honestly, me personally, I'd at this point much rather go through the draft at this point and try and kind of strike gold there if you can. Obviously, it's easier said than done. But if you can strike gold with a receiver in the draft, you're not allocating as much financial resources, like cash-wise, to a receiver. But let me know your guys' opinion on that.
Yeah, wide receiver and running back, I didn't even touch in my free agency mock.
Yep, agreed. Dom, agreed?
I mean, I'm pretty much on your path as well. I mean, there's no reason because all these guys on this list, I mean, no.
Pickens is going to cost you a lot of money.
Exactly. Wan'Dale
Robinson's intriguing.
He is.
I would only take him if you don't sign Mechie as a slot receiver.
Exactly.
Yeah, Robinson's. I had Robinson as a player I liked, but I think he's worked his way up big time based on his play the last few weeks.
Yeah, 100%. I'm on board with you. I like what we have here. If we're going to strike anything, do it in the draft, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Interior line, we filled out with Simpson and Myers, so we're good there.
I would sign Linderbaum. Linderbaum. Have Myers as the backup. Linderbaum has experience working next to John Simpson. He would be my biggest free agent acquisition.
Okay,
that is a pretty good one there.
And obviously, we all understand that franchise tag, blah blah blah. But we there's no way for us to predict how that's going to go. If you ask me today, Linderbaum probably gets tagged.
Oh yeah,
we're playing with the idea that he's hitting free agency. So what are we hitting him with? That $18 million per year full-time center? Or
if he hits, back up whatever you can. 4 years, get him here for long-term and give him what he needs to stay here. Do what you did to CJ Mosley and give him a deal you can't refuse.
Who's the highest paid center? It's Creed Humphrey at 4 years, $72 million. So the way this all works is the next guy wants to get paid more than the last guy.
Linderbaum's better than him.
Yeah. So you're probably going
18 to 20 mil.
Would that be worth it for the best center in football?
No, yeah. I'm on board with that. I had no problem with that. Hey, listen, Jets is spoiled for like 20, 25 years of the best centers in the world.
Oh, hell yeah. Mawai to Mangold.
I was going to say, and what better way to honor Nick Mangold and saying we're done with mediocre center play. Let's put someone real back there.
And then just imagine a line of left tackle Fashanu, Simpson, Linderbaum, Tippmann, and then remember who's getting by that line? Like,
dude, hey, listen, the greats, that's how they built it. Parcells always preached it, man. It's all about the inside, man. Exterior and interior linemen. well, at least the most important part is in place at that point for any choice they make at quarterback. I mean, the offensive line is set.
Hell, when the Cowboys were playing well, look at their offensive line. They had Fredericks. They had all these dominant players.
Oh, yeah.
On there.
And, I mean, we have the part. I mean, listen, if they could pull off a deal or something like that, I mean, we could probably have like a top 5 unit next year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you bring Linderbaum to the mix.
That's what I mean.
Your ceiling hits the top almost at this point. If Membu continues to kind of build in the way he's going, if Fashanu keeps moving in the right direction, I mean, you look at what friggin' why am I missing his name? The right guard. Shit, why am I blank right now? Tittman. Why was I blank? How he's progressed he's probably a better right guard than center. Let's be real. Like,
he had his first holding penalty, his first penalty all year this last game. That's how crazy.
And then he followed up with that amazing block on that screenplay where you just pancake the guy, like lift him up. I was like, holy shit!
He's fun to watch, man.
That guy must have stole his lunch, man. What the hell? Laid him out. But yeah, I'm with you on the Linderbaum thing. Glad you kind of caught me on that because I brought up earlier. Myers is not stopping me from bringing in the best center in the league. I wanted him coming out of the draft when he was coming out that one year, and because I was even talking about him, that guy being top 10 pick. He came out the Garrett year, right? It was the Garrett year. Yeah, I remember talking about that.
I couldn't believe he fell to the Ravens in like the mid-20s.
Dude, the Ravens for a couple years like just had like this thing where like Kyle Hamilton dropped to them, Linderbaum dropped to them. There was another player too. It was like these players you eye and it's like, oh, that's an outstanding athlete, like great player, top 10 pick, whatever. But for whatever reason, he played a position of a not premium position and just falls right to their laps.
Malachi Starks this past year.
That's right, Malachi Starks.
Don't be shocked if they get like a player like Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson, fall into him.
It's them and the Eagles. The Eagles
always get that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Kobe Dean, freaking, what was that other kid from like 2 years ago? Oh, Cooper DeJean this year. Bro, they have both of those, right? Cooper DeJean
and Sean Mitchell.
Jeez, it's like crazy.
That year, I remember most mock drafts had Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean being the top 2 corners / nickels being taken in the draft, and both falls to the Eagles' laps. Like, oh my God, how is that even possible? Oh, jeez. But so yeah, Linderbaum, 100% agree with. How about the tight end position? With obviously a need for a second guy, maybe even a top guy over Mason Taylor, because I for one am not one that likes to kind of like say like, okay, this young guy is the starter. I talked about it earlier. If you have a chance to upgrade, I don't care if it's a young player or not, you do it. You don't want to hinder the player, but have an additional competition, especially in today's NFL. Most teams run 2 tight end formations on a consistent basis. So I don't think you're hurting by any means. Do any of these guys interest you from the standpoint of, obviously we're bringing back Rucker as third tight end, but I'm looking more at the top 4 guys: Fant, Pitts, Goddard, and Njoku as a tight end 2 option, tight end 1 option.
Pitts and Fant are very intriguing. I actually went a different route. I went Isaiah Likely on a 2-year deal. Yeah, because he's a complete opposite. He's more of a receiving guy.
Just bring him all in.
He's more of a receiving guy compared to what Mason Taylor can do with block. And having this guy's line up as like a bigger slot or running down the seam, he's a matchup nightmare. And I wouldn't mind having like a Mark Andrews and Mason Taylor and Isaiah Likely running free, causing issues.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by the Pitts idea too. I do like the idea of Likely too. I mean, he's a solid tight end. And
Njoku would be fun.
And Njoku would be fun too.
That's who I was thinking, Njoku.
There's plenty of I just don't know if Njoku, after all these years in Cleveland, wants to come to the Jets. Like, I think if you're a player that chooses to go from Cleveland to the Jets, like you're almost asking for you're asking for misery. I don't know if that's like the career path that many envision.
He's gonna go somewhere to like the Minnesota Vikings, match up with Hawkinson over there, and become the number 1 tight end over something for them.
Okay, so I think we're all on the intrigue path, and I don't think many of these options, like even Pitts, I think Pitts probably tops out $7 million or so a year. Maybe someone goes crazy, $8 million a year. But I don't think any of these guys kind of moves the needle in any way. So I guess it depends on what your flavor is. I'm on board with a guy like Likely. Comes from a 2 tight end situation over there already. That's very successful. Probably one of the best 2 tight end formations in the league right now. He come over here, tutor a guy like Mason Taylor, a very, very young player, and kind of be our number 1, quasi number 2, and eventually hopefully develop this offensive line. Maybe Linderbaum takes a little bit of a discount for bringing his buddy over from that $20 million down to like 19 and a half. But yeah, I think I'm on board with something like that. And Joe could be intriguing. I just don't see something like that. Like, I don't know. I'm on the outside looking at money talks. I understand that, but I just don't see a player.
And Joku would be fun, man. Power guy who can receive the ball. Oh, him and Mason Taylor would be great.
It would be. So where are we going here, guys? Talk to me. I think Likely is the most likely.
I would go with Likely just because I think he'd be a cheaper 2-year deal, and Joku's going to go to a winning team.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I just can't see the Cleveland to New York,
Minnesota, Seattle, maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I could bring back our Noah Fant.
Yeah.
Well, didn't he play with us?
Noah Fant? No,
he was you're thinking George Fant.
George Fant.
George Fant. Yeah,
he's a free agent too.
Yeah, I'll take him back too. He was pretty awesome with us.
Swing tackle, hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
So we'll go with we'll go with Likely. And like I said, it's probably a $6 million deal, $5 or $6 million. Bring him on. Again, we have $100 million in cap room to screw around with. That, like,
hey, listen, they can rebuild this team with the right moves.
Look what the Patriots did.
Yeah,
they built their defense, gave Drake May some weapons. Who would have thought Booty would have been good over there as a number 1 receiver? And then Diggs coming out too.
You know what it is there? I like Drake Mays. He's the real deal.
Oh yeah,
he's good.
It pisses me off.
Yeah,
it pisses me off so much.
You know, you hit on the quarterback. All these problems are gone, and that's honestly. And I'll be honest with you. Here's another thing I was thinking too. I mean, we got 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years. You know what? I'll take a quarterback this year, and I'll take another one next year. Good luck.
Take a quarterback every year until you hit it right.
Yeah, good luck. Go for it. I don't care, man. I'm so tired of not having anybody. Bro, where's our guy? Like, it's come on.
I'm tired of having a guy, them sucking here and then going somewhere and doing very well.
Man, you know how much it bothers me to listen. I'm so happy for Sam finding success, but I'm so pissed off that he couldn't have it here. You know what I'm saying?
Geno Smith too. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy.
All right. So I think we're all set on offense. I want to after this is all said and done, whatever, I'm gonna share something on X, whatever, like kind of like I'll show you kind of the format of what I have going on. But I want to kind of show what this whole entire thing looks like when it's all said and done, because then it's gonna get there's gonna be some beef on this thing right now based on what we got going on so far. All right, let's go over to the defense. So I think we took a little bit of a different approach than what I've kind of done historically. But I think the Linderbaum thing is just one that you can't ignore. You drop whatever it takes to bring that guy in there, especially when you can manipulate the cap on a long-term contract like his would be. He might sign for $20 million a year, but his cap charge in the current year could be something like $10 or $11 million. You can really mess around with it in such a unique way, to where you still have the avenues to be able to build up on the defense. But going into many of these different models, I kind of took the approach that the way I think the Jets are going to build this thing is in free agency, they're going to try and basically nuke it to basically we're going to acquire free agents for the defense, because you can turn things around pretty quickly on that side of it. And then we're going to use the draft picks, these 8 picks, not all 8 picks, obviously, probably about 5 offense, 3 defense, when you consider that's the kind of shift I think it is. And obviously you're going to put some resource in free agency to offense, but kind of using that same methodology. If it's 60% offense in the draft, at least for now, then probably 60% defense in free agency of your resources kind of to build things out. But obviously a guy like Linderbaum changes that formula big time. Players like that don't come available. I remember when Marcus Williams became a free agent that 1 year. A player like him doesn't normally come available. And I was all for the Jets spending whatever it took to get a guy like him in the building, even for his safety. Because just the only reason he was available is because the Saints were in cap hell, and players like that don't become available. And he was there. And then where'd he go? The same team we were just talking about this whole time, to the Ravens. But yeah. So here's the list. So we talked about linebacker already, Quincy Williams. And again, my list may not have everyone that you're thinking of and stuff like that. So feel free to kind of chime in. But a guy I'm picturing here for this Jets defense, Anzalone. I know he comes from the Lions defense, some familiarity there. I got Leo Chenal here. I don't know. I don't see him actually reaching free agency. And if he does, I can't see that. The Chiefs aren't in the business of letting good players walk out. Every time there's a good player available, they seem to sign a long-term contract. It's just the way it is. Maybe things change now because they're on their first kind of down season in this entire Mahomes era. But I just don't see him being available. But how do you think the Jets attack linebacker in free agency? We still need another one because we got Quincy now, but we still need one more.
I think if Anzalone's there, I think he's the option. I think you go for him. I think pairing him with Quincy Williams would be great. Mm-hmm. Knows the defense as well that we're running, has experience with Aaron Glenn. I think Anzalone would be the option there. Don't think Nakobe Dean's going to make it to free agency. Quay Walker's an interesting one, but he's pretty much a hothead, and I'd be worried about him throwing a punch at somebody and getting ejected.
Yeah.
So Anzalone, I think, would be the safest pick.
I think it's the most logical one. When you consider the connection, and he probably doesn't come for too much. Probably
31 years old, so a 2-year deal maybe.
Yeah, 2-year, maybe just because you're the Jets and you have to pay a little bit of a premium. You got to get 3-year where it's still just a 2-year contract.
Yeah, I have him on a 3-year, but like you said, you can cut him on the 3rd year and
So it's probably a 3-year, $8 million per, so 3-year, $24 million probably get him in the building. Plus, and let's be real. I mean, Aaron Glenn's players coach, that was a big thing. He was kind of prided on when he came in here. Can you show it now? Can you bring in players on maybe instead of having to pay a premium for it, maybe a player comes here because he wants to play for you. I mean, obviously, if the Lions are offering a contract, he sticks around there. But if the Lions just want to get younger at the position, whatever, and he works his way out for that reason, can you bring in a player that you used to coach and make him want to come here at a reasonable price? But I still think around $8 million per year is what's going to happen for Anzalone. Dom, what do you think? Any
Same here. No, we spoke about this once before. We knew that Anzalone's the guy here. I mean, listen, I would love to have either Leo Chenal and Nakobe Dean, but they're not hitting the market, dude. They either get tagged or something. They'll strike a deal.
All right. Probably for me, the position I'm the most intrigued by
spend.
Is safety.
Yeah. Oh, safety.
Yeah.
I thought you were going.
This is the position I'm very intrigued by. The Jets have ignored this position for far, far, far too long. I feel like ever since they drafted Jamal Adams and Marcus May in back-to-back rounds that 1 year, it's anymore. Like we're set. We're good. We don't have to worry about this position anymore. I almost wonder if Willie Johnson still thinks he's writing them a check because this position has been completely ignored for far, far too long. To the point where my initial kind of thoughts here was I almost want to double dip in free agency. Obviously, with the Linderbaum, again, we can manipulate these contracts however we want. But these guys here, at least Cam Crow, Blankenship, and Brisker, all three of those guys are probably getting in the neighborhood of 15 a year. Is probably the way it works out. Quentin Lake, he'll get up there too. I just don't think he reaches that same ceiling, but I think he's still high up there too. Cisco, I think, maybe you could bring him back on a reasonable contract, whatever, but I think, a lot of the flavor from him isn't as high as it was when he first got into the building. but tell me you guys think as far as how this safety position rolls out. Like, are you as intrigued as I am with this group?
I'm probably going to go with a cheaper option. I have Jabril Peppers on my list.
Peppers?
Yeah, as being the veteran option back there, guy who's looks great in New England when he went there, who I think gotten better with age, and somebody who can help more along. I think the safety option is probably better in the draft than in free agency.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing I was dealing with too. Like, you go free agency, give one of these guys a big contract, and then turn around in the draft and use one of the second round picks for a guy like AJ Halsey, for example, is a guy that I really, really like. But he's rising. I almost feel like by the time this is all said and done, he's in that like lower first round pick tier. He just seems like he's flying around on a consistent basis. But so you're eyeing Peppers, and he probably gets somewhere around the neighborhood of like $6 to $8 million deal, maybe.
1 year, $6 million deal.
Yeah,
possibly.
And that's kind of where I would pencil him in too. Because I'll give my opinion on this a little bit here too. I really like Cam Curl. Guy flies around for the Rams. He's a monster. I know it's not ideal for teams to kind of allocate huge resources at the safety position, but again, I just keep going back to the fact this team has just ignored it and has filled it in with 1 year contracts for far too long, and none of them seem to work out. The only real player I feel like that kind of had like some consistency, guy from the Rams, not Whitehead. Woodhead? No, was it Whitehead?
Whitehead.
Yeah, Whitehead.
Jordan Whitehead from the Bucks.
Yeah.
Bucks.
And he was a player that came in and he got a little more flack than I feel like he needed. He was pretty stable back there. I never understood like the fan hate for him, especially for a team like the Jets have just had safety problems for so long. But he was pretty solid back there. Cam Curl I like a lot. Blankenship from like a captain leadership standpoint.
He's my number one on that list.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a situation. Championship player with the Eagles, walking out the building. But if you could bring in somebody of his caliber, he completely brings a new
dynamic.
Blankenship or Brisker would be my guys, but I don't think Curl, Blankenship, or Brisker are making it out of there. I would go with Blankenship.
You're saying like just like franchise tag or whatever?
Franchise tag. I think Cam Curl's going to get an extension. Blankenship's probably going to get an extension, and Brisker maybe an extension too. I don't think they're leaving the building. They are big parts of those defense.
All right,
over there.
So we're getting Pepper $6 million a year potentially. He's on our watch list at $6 million per year. Blankenship, I think you're talking about probably a $15 or $16 million contract potentially.
Would you entertain bringing Cisco back?
I
think he's soured on a lot of people.
Yeah, I would say with these players, sometimes like they see what we're saying. They see what people are talking about them. They see it. Cisco sees every week. Oh, Cisco sucks. He's garbage. He's trash. He sees it. He sees it all the time, man.
Could bring Ashton Davis back. He's a free agent from Miami.
I eyed that a little bit too. My thing is like it'd be a fresh look because this coaching staff isn't familiar with him. They kind of let him walk out the building, so it's not really like a quote unquote like run it back type of thing. But I don't think it's something. I don't think that's something that's going to move the needle too much as far as like. But he's a solid player. I think he gives you like that, that big safety type of look that you need a little bit because that's something I do need. They need like that, like kind of like quasi nickel third safety option. Is definitely something they can need, and that's where I think Peppers fills in. Is he could be that third guy for you, maybe second with pumping Malachi kind of down a notch a little bit. But I still feel like there's a need at the top of rotation. I know we're spending crazy monies here.
Caleb Downs.
We haven't got
Downs. That's my first pick.
Caleb Downs. If we're picking like 5 or 6 in this draft, if we're going to win 2-3 more games, that's exactly what's going to end up happening.
Even 4. It's either Arval Reese or Caleb Downs.
I wouldn't be mad at any of those two players.
I did a video where I did a worst case scenario, and in the first round, I ended up with Arvel Reese and Sonny Styles.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah,
I'd sign up for that.
Oh yeah, 2 great linebackers who were on the team together. Oh, that would be great.
I'm just trying to see like, because very similar like what we're talking about, and I'm not saying people are gonna jump for Caleb Downs over you, but I would like to see like who else we have at like safety position. Like if we were just trying to fill in depth here, like I'm not saying I'm against the Peppers thing.
You could always take a shot back on Jason Pinnock too.
Oh, Pinnock, our Pinnock.
Yeah. Bring him in as a depth option.
Giants for a little bit. He did well.
He went to the Giants and he actually played pretty good.
Yeah.
Or I know Moffitt from the Giants is a free agent too. Maybe bump him to safety.
Peppers is only making like $2 million this year. He's 30 years old. $1.3 million this year, it looks like.
Who?
Right. Jabril Peppers. I can't see him getting that bump of pay like we're talking about $6 million.
Maybe less. $3 million.
Yeah, so maybe you get him for $3 million. Get a guy like Ashton Davis in here. You just kind of fill in, or Ashton Davis or Pinnock, whoever, just to fill out your room, whatever. And then, and then you go into a draft, and if Caleb Downs there, you can kind of explore that option, or you can kind of lean to second round, see what happens there. So I'm good with that. Peppers for about $3 million, get a little bit of a pay increase, and then who we want, Pinnock or we want Ashton Davis? Who's the big guy getting the return? Who's getting the coming home video?
I'll give it to Ashton Davis.
Yeah.
All right. Ashton Davis coming home video. Ooh, if I know how to spell it. And again, he's making about $3 million with the Dolphins, I think it is. I just saw. Wherever he is.
Interior defensive line.
2.5, yes. I mean,
I didn't even realize JFM was a free agent.
I was going to say, we're reuniting with GFM.
So,
I would take him in a heartbeat. I didn't even have him on my list because I didn't know he was a free agent. So
that was the downfall of everything with that Jet defense.
I think so. 100%. That defense took a major step back for way too many reasons. JFM, the day that trade happened, and so ridiculous that it was because we needed Hassan Reddick here and he didn't even show up to play, which is absolute like asinine. A lot of times, like what happens in these like new regimes is like they like to like prove the old old front office and old people wrong, and JFM would definitely fit that mold. But another thing with the whole JFM thing, some familiarity from a standpoint of Chris Banjo was there, our special teams guy, and obviously he's not a special teams player, but Sean Payton, connection with Glenn, maybe there's something there. I'd be very shocked if Payton allowed JFM to leave. He's big on his defensive line.
They're loaded on the defensive line over there, though.
Yeah, Cam Jordan, I meant to say, is still playing with the Saints after all these years. But yeah, they have a strong defensive line. Someone's got to walk out. If you get JFM back into this building, I think it not only kind of refortifies that interior defensive line, because now you're moving Juwan Briggs and Harrison Phillips down a notch in the depth chart. This guy's your number one from that aspect. And he can play edge too. Let's not forget that too.
Hey,
this guy lined up at edge.
Great.
He did. You can give Will McDonald the chance to be that guy who just goes after the quarterback now.
Put my ears back and run.
So I personally am big on a return for JFM. I don't know what his flavor is for it because of the way he, kind of got treated on his way out. But I don't think there's anything in my mind that says that Jets should not do everything possible to bring him back. Great player for us. His contract right now, I think, is like $7 million a year. How old is he now?
I don't think he's that.
He's still like 28, 29. I think he's still like very young. So it's not like age is going to be a major factor in this whole decision. Yeah, he's 29 years old. So he'll be approaching 30 to start next season.
Defensive linemen age really well. Hell, look at Calais Campbell.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
he's
still killing it.
40.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think 3-year deal. He's making $8 million right now. Probably gets a little bit of an uptick even from that. He took a little bit of a discount to go to the Saints, to the Broncos. If he leaves there, he's probably gonna leave for a little bit more money. So what do you think? Like a 3-year, $30 million for Jay?
Right around there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we're up to the edge. Nice. Bring in Jadavius Clowney.
The last time we did this, I had like my priority free agents, and I put Hassan Reddick there for a moment just to get some reaction.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Just to get some fun. So the thing I like about how, obviously I just mentioned it a few moments ago, the thing I like about the JFM signing is you're kind of filling your interior defensive line depth and your edge defensive line depth. I mean, obviously he's one of your frontline players, but you're kind of filling things up a little bit in that aspect, to where edge maybe doesn't become as big of a need. But another player I'm intrigued by at the edge spot,
Epinesa.
Epinesa is very intriguing, but someone that seems like they just would be here or could come here because of some familiarity is Marcus Davenport.
From Detroit?
From Detroit, from the Saints. With the Saints as well. Glenn. He's kind of been around Glenn for a really long time. And man, it's a situation where the Jets can kind of explore kind of a little bit of a reunion from a former player. He's not going to move the needle too much. He's just building out depth at this point. And he's a player who gets some push. Your edge room looks a lot better with a guy like JFM kind of filling in early downs and Davenport kind of being your fourth option behind McDonald and JJ as well. Epinesa is very intriguing as well, but I think at that point you're trying to allocate a lot of resources because Epinesa will get like $7-8 million.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay everyone.
Yeah, but he's a good player, man.
He is a good player.
I'm not saying Buffalo's going to do what they can to get him back. I think.
Yeah. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying we're throwing a lot of Woody's money around.
Rules.
I'm shocked you guys haven't brought up the guy that I think is the best on the list is Boye Mafe. That kid is a monster up in Seattle. He's a monster.
Anybody on that team is a monster right now.
But this kid, I think he's so underrated with all that talent on that defense. He can play linebacker, off-ball linebacker. He can play edge. He can do anything.
I like Boye Mafe a lot, and I think he would be intriguing to me. I think if we didn't give Linderbaum the money, I think it'd be a little bit more like kind of in that conversation at this point in time. Even with Epinesa, I would if we didn't sign Linderbaum, I think Epinesa.
Linderbaum was the biggest one.
Yeah, when you put that much money into the offense, into center, you kind of have to kind of plan accordingly. But again, the Jets have so much cap room that they can go crazy. And here's the thing too, I know this is fantasy land a little bit what we're doing here. I don't see the Jets going as berserk as maybe we're going. I think in an ideal world for the Jets, the way this all works out is this year's very similar to last offseason where a lot of one-year contracts. If we can strike on a big-time deal with a player that we didn't necessarily expect, if Linderbaum's there and he's available, I think they'll do everything possible to bring him in. But I think a lot of one-year contracts, a lot of move the needle type of moves where you can just bring someone in as a stopgap for a little while, and then I think really ideally if they can hit our quarterback this draft, awesome. But I think 2027 would be that year you target. There's a lot of cap room, 3 first-round picks. That's the year I kind of see as them targeting as the all-in type of year, where we're just going to load up as much as possible, use all of Woody's cash, all his picks, whatever, get top-notch players, maybe move up in a few slots in the draft if we see a player that's slipping, similar to Joe Douglas that one year when he had the Garrett Wilson Sauce draft. That's kind of how I see this all playing out, really. So, with all that being said, if we want to pay Epinesa $7 million a year, I'm down for it.
100%.
All right, so
I feel like Epinesa does similar things to JFM. You can play him inside, you can play him out. So I would say you have to go with one or the other.
So Mafe, I think Mafe kind of gets into that like next tier, like above all these guys. Like he's probably in the neighborhood of like probably gets somewhere in the neighborhood of $12 million a year, 13. Again, in Fantasyland we do it. I think gotta be somewhat realistic. Can't get the best player at every position.
Right.
As much as we would love to do that after all these years of suffering. But yeah, I think I'm good with Epinesa at around $7 million a year. And yeah, I'm with you on the fact that you can kind of like your defensive line becomes very
stout,
very versatile. You
it's
got
gonna be a good,
movers and groovers everywhere.
I mean, these are guys that play too, man. They're solid, you know.
Yeah. Skip that. That was an old slide from a previous one. So here's like kind of like more, and I'll fill this stuff in and kind of clean it up a little bit. I have some tab issues with, as you can tell, but I'll fill this in with like kind of how everything shakes out. But this is kind of where we're at with it a little bit. Had Taylor there, but obviously we made some decisions there around that. And then the defense, again, tab is not my friend in this whole picture, but this obviously is what our situation looks like heading into the draft. Now I'm going to try here, see how this all works out. I'm going to try and pull up the PFF's mock draft simulator and see if we can run a 3-rounder.
Okay. And we're picking 4th, right?
4th and 28th.
Oh, so we moved up. We're not picking 32 no more.
Nah, the Broncos are.
Oh, crap.
All right. Give me a second here. All righty. Can you guys see this good?
Yeah. In the first 3 rounds, we have 4 total picks, 2 firsts and 2 seconds.
Beautiful. Right. There's our second pick again.
Now, before we even get started, I mean, I think we all kind of been pretty transparent here. Jets at 4 before we even enter the draft. You know, Tennessee, not quarterback. Giants, not quarterback. Saints, 3. Could go quarterback, may not. Is there any flavor, like, as you know, you see how the 1 goes to trading up to 2 if, you know, for a quarterback, that's it. Neither of you have any interest? All right, just got to call it out there before things get started and make sure we're
play it out, bro.
Yeah. No, I hear you. But before I hit go and we see what happens.
The Giants will never trade with the Jets. That's rule number 1.
I mean, I wouldn't say never.
Titans would ask for way too much.
If the Jets are sending 2 1s and a 2, I think they say yeah to that. But all right, let's hit this thing. Okay. Tennessee's on the clock. So it goes Reuben Bain. Caleb Downs is gone.
Damn it. Downs was my option.
Ty Simpson, number 3 of the Saints. So the first question of the day is the quarterback position. Fernando Mendoza is there.
I mean, at that point, the Jets don't have to trade up. The quarterback
take him.
Their lap, you got to take him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with that. We got our quarterback.
Don't disagree there. All right. So now we're at 28.
See the receivers. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Chris Bell from Louisville. Kid's a monster.
Chris Bell? Who lost to Bell, though?
I think Chris Bell is a first-round talent.
I agree there. But we're picking again at 38. I know it's a little bit of a slip here, but I do like the group of receivers here. Surratt, Bell. I even like Jacoby Lane a lot. I think he's
Brazel too. Chris Brazel, his father played with the Jets.
There you go, family reunion. Jerry Bernard kind of gets into that next year, so I think that's kind of a little bit different. Concepcion is also another player. Ian Strong, like you have a little gap of quarter. Like, let's see what other
Let's check
See if your little Sunny Styles world is still out there. Hey, what just happened? Why did it go off? CJ Allen. Did Sunny Styles get taken in this mock? He did, 20. So, yeah, he's gone.
Whit Weeks is pretty good. I know he's.
I think most of these guys kind of like trigger me as like that second round group of linebackers a little bit. So I don't really want to reach there.
Just curious.
What was that?
Yeah, edge.
I'd be intrigued with edge, but I feel like we really bolstered that defensive line with Epinesa and
true.
I mean Overton.
Mateo Ugalele from Oregon.
Yeah, I like Mateo. Yeah, I like him a lot too.
Safety.
But again, I feel like you're putting too many bodies on the defensive line now. R. Mason Thomas is another guy I really like a lot.
Safety.
Yeah,
safety up.
Halsey.
Oh yeah,
which I like a lot too, but
I like Thieneman from Oregon. The kid flies around the field.
He does.
I mean,
all players. Like, what's going on here? Why is this?
Here's another thing. I'm just saying, Detroit did this 1 year, right? Check running backs. I'm just curious.
Running backs.
Jeremiah Love to see if he's there.
I think you're in a block spot right now.
Boom.
Who's this?
Running backs.
Yeah, I'm in single running backs.
I gotta open it up. I can't see that good over here. Those are your running backs there?
Yeah, running back is a weird. Like it's
it's not.
Like Singleton, I'd like a lot. Like if the Jets had a third round pick.
They have a third round pick.
Yeah. If we had a third round pick, I'd be all over Singleton. Even Allen. Both these guys like from Penn State, kind of different flavors. Obviously Singleton being that top edge guy, top notch guy. Obviously we're good there. Who's our tight ends? Someone's got to be available. Jeez. No.
Who's the top available? Going to all. Just wondering.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing here. It's
guard from Penn State. Ione.
I do like him a lot. And you have Simpson on a 2-year contract.
Hey, you know what? What about corner? I mean, there is a need.
Colton Hood is very good. I think Tennessee has 2 great cornerbacks over there. Colton Hood is one of them.
There's a weird situation. You know what it is? And this is the situation. We loaded up on the defensive line. Like I don't know I don't know if in an ideal world the Jets are getting. I mean, in an ideal world they would. I just don't know in like real life you're getting Epinesa, you're getting JFM. So,
but don't think twice. I think the Jets will like with their one or their first 2 picks in that first round are going to look at edge. Not edge at corner. You know. Not with their first pick, but their second pick. If it falls like in the mid-teens, that's what they do, man.
I can see them doing the second round. I just can't see that being a thing in the first round. I mean, if someone just falls, that isn't supposed to be that one thing. So if we're gonna go with edge, just looks weird. We got JFM, we got Epinesa, we got JJ.
We can't pick edge. You can't pick edge. Let's not do that.
So, all right. Here's another question for you, and it's a little different situation.
We need a backup quarterback, maybe.
you said to keep drafting quarterbacks, but here's another realistic question for you. So, the Jets have a looming decision to make, and I'm not sure if they're going to let me trade or not. But the Jets have a looming decision to make between JFM and Jermaine Johnson. If the draft were to fall this way, and I'm not saying this opens the door for a trade to happen, but I know we were talking about it at the trade deadline of trading one of those guys away. Does maybe a situation like this where you've loaded up on the defensive line and the draft board fell a certain way where there's a player that you couldn't miss, I mean, there's options here. There's plenty of options depending on what your flavor is. I'm a huge guy on R. Mason Thomas. He's an animal. does that reopen the door for a potential trade where you send Jermaine Johnson out for a second or third round pick? I mean, that's what the Jets were asking for, and supposedly, according to Connor Hughes, there was a second round pick on the table. It's a year later. Maybe that same second round pick isn't there. Maybe now it's a third. Will McDonald. And we talked about it earlier that the edge position has not been kind of what we would like out of those two players. So maybe it's a situation where the Jets say, hey, we're trying to just reshape this roster as a whole. Who's the next guy that we kind of pinpoint to kind of just like give this whole entire roster a new flavor? Maybe that's an argument that can be made here.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. I mean, you reset the clock on Payne. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I mean, really, like there's three guys here between Overton, R. Mason Thomas, and Matayo Oyungole that I just look at and say, these are guys I would – and we still have second round of the draft to go. Ryan, give me your opinion. You're staying quiet there. What any intrigue to what I was just bringing up?
Yeah, because the Jets were interested. They did say a second-round pick. I really think they love JJ. I think they're going to keep him.
I don't think JJ would be the one. I think it would honestly probably be Will McDonald.
I think so too. If they did, I think Will McDonald would be out of there because I think they want better run defenders as well, who can also go after the quarterback, and that is Oyungole and Overton and the Thomas. So I'd be happy do an edge rusher and go in one of those guys.
Mm-hmm. All right. Who we got out of these three guys? Let me look at these.
My top guy is Oyungole. I think he's the best one out of the three.
You know what?
Overton, I know, has been going up and down people's boards. Thomas as well, but
I do like R. Mason Thomas a lot. I think out of these guys, he'd probably be my top one. But Matayo Oyungole, I gotta point out, like when I was watching the was it the Indiana game when Indiana versus Oregon, whatever.
Yeah,
this guy was just flying. Like I was watching that game. I was watching that game specifically to watch Moore versus Fernando Mendoza, and this guy was everywhere. Like it was like, oh, this guy's like a not miss guy. I think I actually brought him up in my conversation with Dom, same kind of route we were doing back in October. So I'm good with that process because the simulator will not allow me to kind of trade because I don't pay the extra subscription. We'll say the Jets are sending Will McDonald out for a third round pick in the future, and we're bolstering up the.
I like it.
Edge with the younger player. So you want Oyungole?
Yeah, let's do it.
That's what we're doing.
Cool.
Edge.
And let's see how this receiver situation handles out. One receiver went off the board, I think. So one receiver went off the board. Yep. Which leaves Chris Bell still out there, which is the guy you want.
I think he's a first-round talent. He came out of nowhere this year as being the lead receiver for Louisville. High motor, very quick, strong hands. I think Ian Strong scares me.
I like Chris Bell a lot. Yeah.
Say that one more time.
I do like Chris Bell a lot. What about the Jets' need for like a – well, they actually kind of filled that bigger receiver need with Mitchell. I don't know if it's as big of a need.
They still do need a big guy, and if you're going to go with a big receiver, Chris Brazell from Tennessee is a very big guy who can high point the ball, contested catch guy. Problem with him is he takes some plays off, so he can block very well when he wants to, but it's the thing if you're going to get that every play from him because he could be a top 5 receiver in this draft with the talent he has. It's the motor that he has that can drop him.
I do like Chris Bell a lot. The other guy that intrigues me a lot, especially because of their familiarity. You went Mendoza in round 1, Surratt in round 2 to kind of bring that connection back. These guys have thrown a lot of passes to one another this year. That's another one that intrigues me. He does fill that need for a big body, but I'm with you on Chris Bell. Like he's a player that's just rising. I think it's hard to ignore. his potential. So what you guys, I know Ryan's been
Bro, any receiver, bro. I'll take another receiver. We need them all. We need power. We need a powerhouse, bro.
All right, and then we didn't even look at the.
We need a safety. Yeah,
I
think we need a safety.
I already eyeballed it.
Safety.
Halsey's there. Dinneman's here as well, which is someone Ryan likes a lot. Who's just checking corner because I think I saw Hood still there. No, I didn't. That was a lie. Thought that was very strange. Tight ends just kind of eyeballed. We go another Ohio State tight end for the 1,000th time.
You got to stay away from the Ohio State players.
Yeah. I'm not saying the Jets would do this, but in a situation like where they didn't have Mechie and they didn't have Adonai Mitchell, and I'm not saying those guys are stopping you, like, does it really stop you from bringing in like another receiver? Like, I don't think it does. I think safety is. I think
like trading for Justin Jefferson or something like that.
What,
did you hear about that?
What?
Did I shit all over Facebook? I mean, I know it's old crap, but like Jets and Giants intrigued about possibly moving some first rounders for Justin Jefferson.
Jesus.
I don't think the Jets are in that position yet.
No way. We don't even have a quarterback.
Let's say Mendoza lit the world on fire as a rookie.
Maybe
and then next year the Jets want to send a first round pick then that's a different story.
I agree.
The Jets are way far away from an all-in type of move, which is what that would be. I tell you what, though, if Justin Jefferson is pissed off, whatever, a team to look out for is Buffalo.
Yeah, they just signed Brandon Cooks today too.
Yeah, they did, but that team is like that team and that fan base is like desperate for a wide receiver one, like no other.
Oof.
So I think the obvious option here, just based off of
needs,
kind of how we went throughout our free agency.
Definitely got to take a safety here.
Yeah, safety is the way to go. I'll let you guys kind of chime in on this a little bit. Linebacker would have been actually we didn't even check linebacker. That's actually another position we just need to eyeball potentially.
Whit Weeks plays like Schlesinger from Cleveland.
Yeah, I actually do like Whit Weeks a lot too. I don't know if this group potentially kind of takes over the safety need. Like if CJ Allen, like who got picked 2 picks prior, were here, I think you have this conversation maybe.
In my mock draft I did earlier, I had Whit Weeks at this pick because I had Caleb Downs my first at 4. So that's why I went with that. But you need the safety. That's one of the biggest needs the Jets have here.
So we're going Halsey. We going Thieneman. Who's our flavor here?
Just like Uiagalelei, I love Dylan Thieneman. He plays with so much confidence and swag in his game. Hits like a truck, doesn't miss a lot of tackles, and is a ball hawk back there as well. I don't know much about Halsey from LSU, so if you know a little bit more about him, I would be happy to hear.
Is this really their like analysis, or is this just early?
Just early.
God, is it like that for everybody? Yeah, it is. But, all right, so we going Thieneman.
I knew you like Halsey.
I do like Halsey a lot. He's really grown on me a little bit just watching him.
Is he a big hitter or like a ball hawk? Like what's his game?
More of a ball hawk in the back end, but he's good. He's a strong tackler too, which something I think the Jets desperately need for the safety position is better tackling. Moore's been okay, but early in the season, and Tony Adams is like the just epitome of poor tackling.
Anybody who can get rid of Tony Adams and just play great again with Moore, I think would be great. So I'm happy with Halsey or Thieneman, whatever you want to do.
All right, Dom, you're the tiebreaker here.
We'll go with big hitter, ball hawk. Let's do it all. Let's bring him in.
All right, let's go Halsey.
Boom.
And then we also had a 3rd round pick next year, which I don't know what the Jets look like there, but
I don't think we have a third round.
We don't have a third round
Not
pick.
this year. Not this year. Not this year.
Yeah.
We added one next year in the Will McDonald trade. Grading your draft. Let's see how they think we did. Not subscribing. Do I have to subscribe and get a grade? Overall, B+.
I like it. I think those players are going to rise up boards.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think it's a solid draft for sure. Just save that here. Stop sharing. But no, I like it a lot. Drafted the quarterback of the future, guy that many of us probably have as the top guy at this point in time.
You brought in 4 brand new starters, man. They're starters from day one.
All 4 of these guys are day one starters. Right. I mean, based on what we did in free agency, Uyunglele is probably more of your like second tier rotational player. So he probably get a large bulk of snaps.
Rotational piece that turns into a starter later down the road.
We've seen how quick the defensive line can change.
Oh yeah,
we've seen how quick this defensive line can change.
Yeah.
But no, that's mostly what we got. So yeah, like I said, I'll put this all together, kind of like give that format of what this team looks like moving forward. But yeah, a lot of fun. I think
100%.
We nailed it. We spent a lot of Woody's money. We got a lot of good players in the draft. Fernando fell to us. It's like everything that could have gone right. I know you want Caleb Downs, but
if the quarterback's there, you gotta.
It depends on
so much work on Mendoza.
But like if we're sitting at 4, Mendoza falls. But let's say we're sitting at 6, 7, and he doesn't fall. Guess what?
Yeah.
You got to take best available. I don't even think Caleb Downs will make it to 6, 7 either. He's going to be a top 3, top 4 pick regardless.
I don't know. I think the safety position, I don't think people are looking at the safety position that high.
Really?
I think receivers are going to go real quick. The Browns are need a receiver. Carnell Tate could be going to them.
Too, man. Unless they found something in Shador. Who knows?
Unless they're happy, they still got Deshaun Watson there too.
They do.
My hope the rest of the way is that Tyler Shuck lights it up for Saints. Shador does enough to get some wins to knock Cleveland out of the top tier for a quarterback. And
you know what? You just brought
Vegas.
up something.
Vegas is my team of major concern from a quarterback standpoint.
Real quick, I haven't even thought of this. Deshaun Watson, is he done?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I think.
Would you take a flyer on him?
No. God,
no.
You would. That comes with so much baggage, man. It comes with a lot. It comes with a lot.
You got tucked.
Your PR department has to be on point.
The Jets would be getting so much crap.
Yeah, they do. Oh my God, you're right. Oh boy, you're right. I forgot about that.
I mean, could you imagine? Like the Jets got so much flack for bringing in Rodgers, who, say what you want about Rodgers, but he was still mostly decent head. He just had weird kinks that he had. But you bring in a guy that did the shit that Deshaun Watson did, or got in trouble for doing.
Yeah,
to the Jets nonetheless. Yeah. Oof. You're asking.
We won't even entertain that. Aaron Glenn doesn't even want those type of players.
One quarterback that I brought up, and a lot of Jets fans were absolutely not trading for, was Dak Prescott.
I wouldn't be mad.
I think he'd be good. His contract is an albatross, though.
Yeah.
So, but if you get him back there with that offensive line, he can make every throw.
I think any decent quarterback with that offensive line can make good throw. You bring in, I don't know, man. I'm just saying,
Tanner McKee.
I mean, honestly, I'm telling you, why not? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It depends on what happens the day of the draft. I mean, if the Jets do not get, but they'll have their answer by then.
I think something like that. And I guess it's a little tricky too, because New Orleans, if they have interest, and they call before the draft happens, whatever type of thing, that's one story. But I think the way you look at this kind of stuff is if the Jets go through round 1 and they go through their first pick and it's not there, it could be a situation where you're talking day 1 of the draft and you find out later on in middle of the night that there's been a trade announced, so that the Jets lose that second round pick, whatever. I don't know if it's something that happens pre-draft type of thing, but then again, some teams want to get that quarterback in the building, and kind of start establishing themselves. So that becomes tricky. I'm trying to think of another situation. I know, I talked about Matt Castle earlier. I feel that was an earlier in the process move. When
CJ Stroud's name has been brought up too.
Yeah.
But why the hell would Houston want to get rid of CJ Stroud?
That's what I thought. Is like
the decline that he's having is because of that offensive line. It's garbage.
Yeah.
They've never built anything around him. So,
and then think about it. Like if they were to move on, I mean, what's that package going to look like? You're going to have to lose maybe 2 first-rounders to bring in Stroud in. And are you going to trade for Stroud? I don't know. I mean, if you're thinking he's on a decline, any team would think the same thing, you know? And then what are they going to do for a quarterback, you know?
Well, that was Davis Mills.
Huh?
Like, they got Davis Mills. But
oh, yeah. Keep him then.
The thing is, too, like, I've heard Jalen Hurts getting traded.
Hey, listen, I wouldn't be mad at a CJ Stroud.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either, but you just said 5 seconds ago you don't want any Ohio State players.
No, I am.
CJ Stroud, though, is a different story.
Yeah. No, my whole outlook on the Ohio State
I got you.
changed.
No, I got you.
But for many years, we used to take players out of that program that didn't do crap for us, you know. Yeah. And now, finally,
much different program now.
It is than
it was. It's still great. It was always a great program, but they just had issues with the receivers and quarterberiod for a long period of time.
Devin Smith. What was the other?
Oh my God,
Vernon Golston. Oh man, I can go on. The list goes on, dude.
The best
Jets
thing
did not do well with Ohio State players, except for Mango. Mango was
the only one.
Yeah, hey, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, Garrett.
Now.
Yeah.
I'm saying for a long period of time, struggled.
The best thing that could happen to the Jets in this draft is if all 3 of the quarterbacks, the big quarterbacks, declare to come out. Like if Dante Moore, if it's only, let's say, Mendoza, and the Jets are picking 5 or 6, they ain't getting them.
They're not getting them, no.
But if all 3 of them are,
we end up with any one of those 3, I wouldn't be mad.
And look, a lot of people right now are saying not Mendoza, Moore is the best quarterback out of these 3.
DJ Moore.
Yeah. Dante Moore.
The guy from Oregon.
Yeah.
He's good.
That's a lot of people's top guy. And I like him a lot too. My biggest issue, and this is probably the reason why he's going back, is I just haven't seen enough out of him, like from a start standpoint. Like I did a little exercise early in the offseason, or early in the season, when Fernando Mendoza's name started popping up, and I watched a lot of his film last year at Cal. And I gotta tell you, like, from the standpoint of this guy has taken a beating in a lot of his games, and he just stands in there and keeps fighting back. And we've seen it this year too, even to the extent like what we saw against Penn State. Penn State's not the team that they were coming into the year. I understand that, but he took a pounding for a majority of that football game and still let him down the last drive of the game for the touchdown to win it all. It's one thing after another I've kind of seen out of him where he can stand in there, take a pounding, and the game may not go pretty, but for whatever reason, he just has that fourth quarter mentality that it's hard to predict what players are going to do in those crunch time moments, especially in a game where you've gotten destroyed. He did against Oregon to that pick 6 in the third or fourth quarter, whatever it was. Then the very next drives down. He has that short-term memory. I want to say that Penn State game too, he threw an interception right before a 2-minute drive. And it's like, oh shit, is this the game where everyone's going to look at and say, okay, maybe he's not it? And then he goes down. And granted, you can't ignore the first 3 quarters of that game. He wasn't great, but for whatever reason, at the end of the day, he's climbing up on top this season. I'm very intrigued. I think the biggest test for him will be, obviously we'll see what he does this Friday, but his biggest test is going to be against Ohio State. That's an NFL caliber defense that is coached very well. That's going to be the big test for him. And
who are they playing on Friday?
Purdue. They should walk on that. But that's the roadblock potentially to playing Ohio State. And I don't know, Ohio State probably makes it regardless of their result in Michigan. Because I don't know Michigan's conference record. But that's the game I'm looking forward to. Like, that's the real test for him to see if he's that top-tier guy or if he has a bad game. You can say, okay, is it because he played weak opponents most of the season? But he's shown out really well this season. He's my number one guy, even over Dante Moore. I think Dante Moore, if both these guys were coming out in 2027, maybe Moore kind of takes the edge because he's shown enough. Just not enough of a sample size, in my opinion. But we'll see. Still plenty of time. A lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
But Jet fans, it's always next year. But hopefully this all works out the way we talked about it. I mean, we've completely loaded this roster. There's no reason Fernando Mendoza should not be a 4,000-yard quarterback in year one. Should not be. This running game should not rush for 2,000 yards. And we still got, and let's be real, there's still like a few rounds after our little mock where we can pick up another running back
in this coming draft. It's insane.
Oh my god, it's nuts. I gotta post this whenever I get a chance. Like this whole entire mock that we did for this offseason is like completely different than what I've done in the past.
The remake. You got to see a whole new Jet team next year.
Oh yeah,
completely.
Oh yeah, it's going to be regardless. But I think what we did was overkill.
We have the money to do overkill. That's
I mean, short of firing the coach, I think we basically retooled this entire team.
And honestly, I don't think it would be that much of a shock if they did retool this entire team because they want their guys in here.
I think it's the way to go. I mean,
I think so too. We discussed it, man. It's this team, like the old regime team. I mean, they came in, they looked like they just felt beat, man. They just didn't have the fire in them anymore.
Mm-hmm. Quitter mentality. It was.
Where's the spark? Why can't we have like our Mason Taylor go off on a game? Like 7 catches, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like, where's our guy to do that? You know, we haven't had one of those players in so long, you know, especially as a rookie. I mean, G-Dub, of course we have, but I don't know.
Heartbreaker too, that Garrett Wilson, this might be the first year that he's not going to get over 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, I don't think he's only at like 450, 600 yards, 500 yards. I mean,
he would have to go.
I don't see it happening.
In all honesty, I think they should just sit him down for the rest of the year. Let him relax, and because we're not going anywhere this year.
Yeah, we don't
see what you got in the younger guys.
The worst thing can happen. I mean, especially because the freaking leg, the knee area. That's the last thing you want to really screw around with. Especially for a player like him that kind of works. Kind of the speed is what gets him, and the quickness. I'm no interest in screw around with that, especially if you're going to be drafting a quarterback next year. You need every single bit of help for that guy. Yeah, let him rest. But yeah, I think we kind of killed it. Like I said, I'll post this up here.
Awesome.
Guys, this was a lot of fun.
It was.
Ryan, appreciate you joining.
Everybody.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. This was awesome, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
We'll have you on again too. And feel free to reach out to me, whatever. I'll be happy to jump on your show. We can talk ball for sure. And Ryan, just for anybody who kind of watches the show, whatever, let them know where to find you, because I think I first saw you on Dane's show. And you got some good product, man. I appreciate you jumping on, and you do some good stuff.
Thank you so much. If you don't know me, I'm the JetsWard. You can find me. I have my own YouTube channel called the JetsWard. I post on TikTok as well, and X. So follow me on them. I love doing this. Love making Jets content for everybody. And it's so much fun, guys. I enjoy it. Thank you again for having me on.
Not a problem. Thank you for joining. Appreciate everyone in the comments. Appreciate everyone for watching. And let's go Jets.
Go Jets.
Go Jets.